board and a member of this committee. Let the Secretariat introduce himself.
Good morning. I'm Chepkura Miriam, Committee Clerk.
Morning. I'm Message, Internal Audit Assistant.
Yes, good morning. I'm just Cheroni, Internal Audit. Good morning, Cheroni Winnie, Legal Officer.
I'm Kimeta Liston, answered. Still the late budget.
Saramaya, certain terms.
Let the team from the executive introduce themselves.
Morning, Chair and members. I'm Jackson Rob, the CC in charge of Finance and Economic Planning, head of County Treasury, and I've been accompanied by my staff, and I will ask them to introduce themselves.
Good morning. My name is Alphonse Rotich, Chief Officer, Economic Planning.
Good morning, everyone. I'm CPO Dr. George Kirer, Chief Officer, Finance.
Good morning. I'm CPO Fernandez Korir, Deputy Director, Accounting Services.
Good morning. I'm Nancy Labuso, Accountant.
Good morning. I'm Deputy Accountant.
CPO Wilbert Chirwet, Accountant.
Chair, I think one of the officers is still on his way coming, CO PSM. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. We have members of our press and press unit on the back.
Good morning. My name is Priska Mosonik, PR and Communications.
Good morning. I'm Angela Beach, answered.
Patrick Korir, thank you. We all know each other now. I will request the legal officer to administer oath to the CC and the accounting officers. CEOs. Thank you.
Jackson Kipkoriro, do swear that the evidence I shall give before this committee is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
I shall give before this committee is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
I, George Kipima Kirer, do swear that the evidence I shall give before this committee is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Now, for us to continue well, I would like to summarize the report as follows. As you understand, we have 26 issues that was captured by the Auditor General. 7 issues have been addressed, 12 not addressed, 7 partially addressed. So now I know you submitted the response, and I believe the response that you submitted to us is the one that you are going to use. I don't expect that maybe you are giving out a new response. You are going to use the one that you already submitted to us. Again, if there are any other further documents that you want us to give this committee, you are free to submit to us, to this committee, to be fine if you submit to us any other document that you have not submitted before. Since we have 7 addressed issues, we don't have to go through them. It will take a lot of time, and yet it has been resolved. So we directly go to the issues that are either partially resolved or that are not resolved, so that we'll be able to save on time. What we'll do is we'll start with question number 3, unsupported payments for insurance services. So the auditor will read the question.
Thank you, Chairman. Number 3, unsupported payment for insurance services. The statement of receipt and payment, and as disclosed in note 4 to the financial statement, reflects an amount of Kenya shillings 89,771,448 in respect of insurance cost. The expenditure includes an amount of Kenya shillings 40,939,739 for insurance procured via tender for county strategic assets. The contracts was for a period of 2 years. However, the valuation report detailing the cost of insured assets and liabilities were not provided for audit review. Therefore, the basis of arriving at the insurance cost of 40,939,739 and the assets involved were not provided for audit review.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Chair, the management acknowledges the auditor's observation. However, we wish to state that the valuation of assets under the cash basis accounting is the historical cost of the assets which were used during the acquisition. The transition to accrual basis of accounting will subsequently address the valuation of assets as they will be recognized after depreciation or the fair market value. An extract of the report which was used for insurance purposes for the county's assets is attached in Annex 3A. Furthermore, Chair, the depreciation policy for the county assets is currently before the county executive committee for deliberation and approval in line with the transition to accrual accounting as guided by the Public Sector Accounting Standard Board as provided in Annex 3P. Chair, when we were going for the response, or when we were doing the response, this document had not been tabled before the executive, but I want to report to this honorable house that I did table the document and the executive has passed that policy document for depreciation of assets. It's called Plant, Equipment and Property Policy Document. Thank you, Chair.
What we'll do is we're going to tackle every question so that once we move to the next one, we'll not go back to that question. Yes, I saw the reason why the question has not been fully addressed is because you submitted only documents for the year 2024-2025, which is basically this financial year.
Yes.
But you have not submitted the documents for the year in question. That was for 2023 and 2024, which was supposed to be submitted during the audit. And again, I hope you will provide again the list of assets that were insured. I think 40,939,739 was used to insure a list of assets. So you should be able to see that list of assets. And this committee should be able to look at those documents. I don't know whether do you have those documents? Have you provided the documents that were required by the auditor in 2023-2024?
Chair, let me allow my director to respond to that.
Thank you, Chair. The list of assets which we had submitted for insurance purposes, we have that list. The insurance company would give us the policies before we submit the list. Chairman, remember we were using the cash basis of accounting in 2023-2024 financial year. In our financial statements, we've submitted a list of fixed assets that we have as a county. In the journey of transitioning from cash basis to accrual basis, we now have a directorate in charge of assets, and we've tasked that responsibility to be able to identify and provide a list of all the assets, starting from the assets which were belonging to the defunct local authorities. There's a report which was done by Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee, which gave us a list of all the assets, including non-movable assets, land, buildings, which belong to the defunct local authorities, and even the ones belonging to which were for the devolved functions, such as health, agriculture. So we have a starting point, and which we've started to have that listed. For purposes of this meeting, we have the list which we give to the insurance company for them to provide the policies. Thank you.
Now, you see, you made a very long explanation, but the question is very simple. Because if you have a premium, for example, for a vehicle, maybe there's a vehicle for the counties which is 35 something CG. We know we have how many vehicles, we have how many maybe lorries, we have movable, those assets that are movable vehicles. How will you determine the premium if you don't have an asset? Because 40 million was paid to the insurance company, and for you to get that sticker, you have to pay based on something that has been valued. So you should only provide for us that list plus the premium that was paid, so that we can be able to account for this money, 40 million. So we don't have to explain a lot about the previous counties and what. We need the list and the premium and the valuation that was done. That is very simple. Do you have that list for 2023-2024? If you don't have, then you can tell us we don't have, so that we can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. We have the list. We're going to provide to the auditor.
Do you have it with you now?
Yes.
We'd like to see that list.
Yes.
Let me give to, if there's any question from the members regarding the same. Yes, thank you. Honorable Rawan.
Thank you, Chairman. I think it is you've made a proper ruling because it is expected that every financial year, if we were to insure these county strategic assets, it is not the same amount. The previous financial year, of course, there is the issue of depreciation, and CPA Fernandez has explained, but what we need as a committee is that list for that particular financial year. And I want to believe it will detail all the assets that you stated, either they are movables and those, maybe the buildings, give it to us, because failure to which, and then it means the whole thing is not supported.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa Rawan.
Chair, I want to make that commitment that we will provide the list, because this is particularly pertaining to the assets that were insured.
Maybe, Chair.
Yes.
Just a question also on the same, because I don't think this should be a straightforward answer, because the assets that the county have, suppose we have a register of all the assets that we have, plus depreciation, of course, and also the issue of the valuation of all the assets. So the reason why this question is lingering is because of the issue of like, how do you arrive at the 40 million? Because let me use an example of this county assembly. We also have assets. We normally give, we have vehicles, and the time we even give a tender, we know exactly the number of vehicles we have for the county assembly, and because we normally budget for the same. So once we provide that money, then it is known number of vehicles, number of buildings have been insured, and therefore that should be the case for the county government of Kericho. So you should be able to give us the valuation of those assets, and at the same time also the valuation, because it's a question of how many do you have, how do you arrive at the figure. So you should have a comparative list. The reason why it was a partial answer is because I think you diverted to try to explain the different forms of accounting, accrual accounting versus cash-based accounting, which the issue here is not being addressed. Is the issue of valuation, how many assets do you have, and what is the valuation of these assets. And then once it reconciles, then you have addressed the issue completely. So provide for us those ones so that we can be able to move on, because this is an issue of numbers, figures, and just valuation. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Viewer, you have heard what we need from you. We need comprehensive documentation that you should provide to us. We need detailed asset register. We also need valuation reports and insurance policies. So, because you cannot insure without a policy. So kindly provide all those documents before we retreat to write the report.
Right. Thank you, Chair.
Next question. Okay. Members, then we'll introduce new members who have just come in, and then maybe Honorable Matthew will ask a question after introduction.
Okay, Chairman. First, I apologize for coming late. Waziri and the team. Chairman, I think I don't have a question, but it is an observation that if it is possible, Chairman, going forward, the executive should also get prepared when appearing before this committee, because this committee cannot compare with any other committee. There is a culture when they appear before us, they normally promise to provide other documents later, and in the real sense, we might not be able even to get. So I wish Fernandez and Waziri this time round kindly try. If we have agreed that you will provide a detailed report or a list of assets that you need to provide, kindly give us, so that going forward, when you are doing a report, we can do a better report compared with what we did the other time. So that is my opinion, that if it is possible, what you have promised us, kindly deliver, so that when we are going or we are retreating to write this report, we'll be able even to give you a fair and a good report compared with what we have been doing, because sometimes when you promise, it is not possible that we get those documents. We end up having the report according to what we receive. So thank you, Chairman. We are here to go through these documents, and we are here to interrogate, and we are here also to help this county to move to the right direction. Yes, also we advise each other on what to do and what not to be done, so that we can get good reports going forward. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm Kipkuri Korir Matthew, MCHI Kuan, member of this committee, and I'm sorry and I apologize for coming late.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
My apologies too for stepping in late. I had attended some other functions elsewhere. Because I got these questions on the way, I don't have much to say, but maybe not to do this back and forth discussing about and support the documents. When it's obvious and you know these are the required documents, we will wish that in the near future or in the future, Fernandez, you know your role. CEC, and we appreciate because you have served in so many capacities. You understand what is required of you. So when coming here and requesting for more time to supply the documents which you could have come alongside with you when you attended this committee. So going forward, we pray and we ask you to come with the necessary documents. Otherwise, my name is Hilary. I represent the great people of Jeblanget Ward, and I'm a member to this committee. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We proceed to the next question. Question number 6.
Thank you, Chair. Non-collection of own source revenue. Unauthorized operation of a mobile money payment. The statement of receipt and payment reflects transfer from the County Revenue Fund of Kenya shillings 5,913,233,979 as disclosed in Note 1 to the financial statement. The amount includes exchequer releases and own source revenue appropriated by the County Assembly to fund the County Executive. Records reveal that revenue collected by the receiver of revenue excluded own source revenue from inspection fee for fire compliance. An inspection fee of Kenya shillings 3,500 was levied in the Finance Act for the period, but was not being collected at the time by the county government. An officer of the county government, however, registered and operated a mobile payment number which was not authorized by the county treasury to collect the fees. The statement for the number indicated credit entries of Kenya shillings 152,290 and a debit entry of Kenya shillings 141,852 for the period from 24th January to 2024 up to 5th August 2024. Internal investigation on the matter recommended disciplinary action on the officer. However, collection of own source revenue and the transfer to the county exchequer was understated by the amount not collected.
Thank you, Chairman. Honorable Chair, the management acknowledges the auditor's observations. The staff involved in this is currently under disciplinary action. Procedures have been put in place as per the government human resource regulations. Attached is the County Human Resource Advisory Committee, CHR MFC, and Public Service Board resolution recommendation on the issue, which is attached under Annex 6. Further, the management has taken measures to strengthen the internal controls in revenue unit by developing an integrated in-house collection system, which is web-based, enforcing cashless collections, real-time revenue reporting. In addition, staff rationalization and new recruitment are being undertaken in the revenue unit. Thank you, Chair.
This issue is indicated as partially addressed. And again, the same issue is the one that was highlighted by the Auditor General himself, herself. Actually, when you look at this question, even before I know the answer you are giving is the discipline, the internal discipline. But remember, we have been talking about the issues of revenue collection and the loopholes that are there in terms of collection of revenue. This issue, we are not going to take it just lightly as county assembly. This is a very serious issue because you see when the auditor is doing audits, they don't audit entirely the whole system. They do sampling. And most likely they did sampling only with this one. We don't know about those that were not looked at or that were not audited. It is actually putting the county in a bad picture because if somebody can be able to collect such amount of revenue, one person, then if you can do a calculation of several people, then it means you are losing a lot of money from this county. I know you have given the answer of disciplinary and the other measures that have been taken. You see, disciplinary on this staff only alone is not enough. Anyway, let me give a chance to any of my colleagues who have a question relating to this so that we can proceed. And then maybe you can answer with questions. Any questions from any member regarding this issue? Honorable Eric.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chairman. I think what the audit is exactly looking in this matter is, apart from this case that has been addressed, and the issue of mobile payment transfers, maybe you could also tell us from your own as part of internal controls as a department what you have learned from this matter, and if there are any other loopholes that might be there, because this is one random pick from the Auditor General. Now, as a department, what controls have you put? Have you confirmed all the mobile payments that are legit for the county, or are we exposed as a county? Because this is an issue that is really needs to be addressed. Have we sealed all of them? Was this a single case? And what have you done as a department at this level to ensure that such a risk is not there anymore in the department?
Chair, I think I want to agree with you that this was a unique case. As you have rightly put, that the areas that might have not been audited and the same could be appearing. I want to assure this committee that this was very unique. It was about the fire station in Kericho, and we have sealed all the loopholes. Currently, we only have one system of payment, and that system is the automated system that was developed in-house, and we do not receive cash as it used to happen. So we've gone cashless, and we are very strict. We are meeting. We do regular meetings with our officers, the sub-county revenue officers who are in charge, and we have held several meetings with all the revenue collectors, including even the accounting officers who are also appointed as receivers of revenue, because each accounting officer has a stream, and we brought on board all the officers that have been appointed by those departments to help us in revenue collection. Because currently, you know, the Treasury, we were really having very limited human resource to use in revenue collection. And as it is indicated even in this response, is that we want to recruit more clerks to help us collecting the revenue. But I want to give that assurance that one automated system is the only one that we are using, and the pay bill is only one.
Now let me ask a question. How did this unauthorized number be registered? How was it registered without approval?
This is an issue that is now under investigation. That is why we are saying this issue has been escalated to a higher level, so that criminal action has been taken against this officer, because this was purely criminal.
Do you have any proof or evidence that there is something that has been taken?
Yeah, it was reported.
Do you have any action that you have taken?
The officer was reported. Apparently, I didn't have the OP. I wish I had gotten the OP report. But these are issues that we can provide.
Now you need to give us a proof that you have taken action.
I will.
As a county.
Yeah.
And have you recovered the whole amount?
Not yet.
Okay. How much have you recovered?
We will give you, that is why I needed the personnel, the officer in charge of PSM, because these are issues that touches with personal matters.
Because you see, this is an issue that has been highlighted, it is in the public domain.
I know.
And you should have acted, maybe even within the shortest time possible. Even before you came here, you should be having a report on what you have done, because you see, these are very serious issues touching on our revenue.
We did, and I think the accounting officer can also respond.
So you should be able to get evidence that you have actually taken action, because if you don't take action, it means
action has been taken. In fact, the accounting officer is here. Let him respond. George can respond.
Can you respond on that?
Yeah.
Before
please.
even that, Chairman.
Sondre Matthew.
Okay, before that, Chairman, Waziri will allow us, because at some point we failed to deliver to our people because of the collected revenue. But with the effort of this staff, we managed to register his own paid bill number and to collect revenue on behalf of all of us. Waziri, the first meeting that was this guy called to appear before the committee on disciplinary hearing, it was 6th March 2025. And then what you have attached, that is Annex 6. There is a letter here for interdiction of the same person, that is Eric Kemboche Simet. But Waziri, before even we continue, a procedure to get a till number or a baby number is not something that you can just cross from the headquarters and go to Safaricom office or Safaricom center and get, minus having the minutes of the agreed, minus having even the PIN number of the institution, because here Herrick is collecting on behalf of Kericho County government. Now we are not seeing Eric as an individual, we are seeing as a staff who will be collecting revenue on behalf of the county government. And what I want to know, the report from the CHR Mark and even the report from the Department of PSM, I think Waziri attaching just but a letter inviting him to appear before the disciplinary committee and the letter of interdiction, I think this is not enough even to prove that there is something that you did, because the first thing is a charge the staff so that we can recover the money that was channeled to his account. But according to my understanding, Waziri, I think this thing was it was after the audit report that we realized that there is someone collecting. What about other areas that we are not collecting revenue? And we say this is also can happen in other areas, because I remember when you appeared before this committee last 2 months, we realized also there is a payment of 7.5 million that was made to Pome through a pay bill number. Can we say that there is a lot of pay bill numbers collecting revenue on behalf of Kericho County government? Waziri, for me, I will add one, that we get the report from the committee, and also, if it is possible, we can talk to the members of the implementation committee. The chairman can summon the member or the staff to appear before that committee, so that at the end of the day, we might be talking that this guy was just collecting annually, but we might get that it was directive from either your office, Wazir, or from either the immediate boss to this staff, Eric Kemboy Chesimet. So for me, I think if we can get the report, Chairman, from this committee, that is after appearing before the disciplinary committee, if we can get the report, and if we can get also something to show that you took action against him, it is better, so that we build the evidence that no one will take up no one will try in the near future to open a till number and collect the revenue on behalf of all of us. Chairman, there is a public outcry outside there that the systems and the sound is not working well. It is possible the PR team to work on that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. PR team kindly address the issue of the sound so that the public can be able to hear what you are saying. Now, the Chief Officer, welcome. Can you?
Thank you so much. Now, there's a mystery to this case. Just to start with the concern that has been raised by Honorable Matthew, that it is the auditor who brought it out. No, it is the county treasury who brought it out, and we started the process even before the audit was done. The audit now, on reviewing our documents, including our Board of Survey report, showed now we have less cash of the amount collected is when now it came out in the audit certificate. Just to mention, I don't have the exact dates, but this is an issue that is active because now, at some point, the processes that could be done by the county treasury, the CHR mark, even the public service board, you know, obviously when an issue is taking the criminal aspect, which is like the case of this till number, then we invoke the structures of the national government to come in. And that is a process that is currently ongoing. And I don't want to be prejudicial to the investigations that are ongoing because, as was really put out, there's an OB number, and even several officers, starting from the immediate former director, Revenue Koech, has gone to record a statement because it arose even when he was still there. That's why I was saying is an issue that started. So in this case even, the county treasury now was the complainant because now for us to have any payment portal by the county government, it is very clear. It is guided by PFM 119 that authorizes the opening and closing of bank accounts because you are using it to collect money. To confirm for this case, the county treasury did not give any such directive, which we were equally asking ourselves, how could someone open an account showing Kericho County anywhere without even providing the PIN certificate of the county government, which we jealously guard at the county treasury. We just don't give it out anyhow because that is the authority, and the authority of the CEC finance, not delegated, is the one that we usually use. So I'd like to request, Chair, that since now this is an issue that is an active investigation, I don't know how you do your procedures in the House, because now it is with the arm of government in charge of investigations, and the investigations are ongoing. But just to give a snapshot, a background is the county treasury, in a way, was the whistleblower on the matter. Yes, so because now our concern is our money is collected using the appropriate legislation and banked in the designated bank accounts that are duly authorized during opening and operated under the full knowledge of the county treasury. So in this case, the county treasury actually was not part of the process, did not give any approval, because we usually invite the departments, whenever they're opening accounts, they should reach out to the county treasury because that is clearly spelled out in the PFM Act, and it is not a delegated responsibility. It's only the head of county treasury who can authorize. So I stand guided, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Possible.
Okay, thank you, Chair. As much as we are not going to discuss much about this Eric J. Simet opening a till number, because it will be prejudicial, we want to discuss on way forward so that we can cap such menace happening in future. Maybe, in a way, Eric J. Simet sees an opportunity of opening this deal because we have weak internal control. We don't know because I remember way back in 2023 or 2022, there is a lady in Sondo who was collecting revenue
though it was cashless, it was cash.
Cash, yeah.
She was collecting revenue but not remitting to the treasury, to our county. Maybe this Eric Chesimet again, I've seen an opportunity in collecting revenue. What have you done as the department to cap and seal all these loopholes? Because we are rolling over deficit year in, year out because of non-collection of revenue. Now, there are some areas, in fact I can tell this from my ward, where your people are not collecting revenue. That I personally, there was a time I was suggesting, I visited Achiwa Shamchi Quarry, where our officers are not collecting revenue. So I was planning even to go and erect a barrier so that I'll be collecting myself revenue. So because we are failing as a county. So what have you put in place so that we can strengthen this? And we have been saying this every now and then. We have been saying that we need to map, we need to understand that we have how many quarries, how many, all these things we have been saying every now and then. But to date, we have not implemented those. So maybe Eric Chesimet, in his wisdom or lack of it, decided that because people are not collecting, or the county government are not collecting revenue, I need to open a till because all these people are not seeing this. So these are an eye-opener, these are whistleblower, so we need to understand. And we need you to give us way forward on how we are going to collect revenue in each and every sector or stream we have in our county government. Thank you.
Chairman, to add on what Vera has just raised is that CPA, you have just asked that whether that the county assembly have powers to continue while there is an investigation going on. If you read the constitutional framework, that is Article 185.1 and 185.3, the county assembly can continue investigating anything pertaining to the county government, because the powers that we have here, I think with the DCI, police station, OCS and the rest can do their things. But with us, Bwana George, is that we wanted to know, because at the end of the day, at the moment GNC can think and can do practical things outside there. Sometimes we are sure that 1,000 is a little amount, but if you can do 1,000 times 10 people with different pay bills, that is 10,000 in a day, times 30 days, that is 100,000. 100,000 in 30 days, what of the 1 year? That's a lot of money. So it is my appeal that even the county treasury, I think Waziri and the team, we need also to do a letter to distance yourself about this. And then the county revenue director to tell us, because we might be assuming that Chesimet managed just to open a pay bill for fire emergency, but someone else can open a till number for market collection in some areas where we are not collecting revenue. So it is my request that since that we want to come together as the county government and the county assembly to build our county. At the end of the day, what will appear outside there, it is not about the county executive, it is the Richo County. So we will try as much as possible to intervene and also seek advice where necessary. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Matthew. We have one member who has just come in. Kindly introduce yourself.
Thank you, Chairman. Sorry for coming late due to official engagement I had prior. My name is Ezron Kipngeno, member to this committee. Thank you.
Thank you. I see you have something on Claire? Okay, Honorable Borogony? Yes.
Chairman, you know, from the reports that we have here, 152,290 was collected by the officer, and transfer of 141,000 and some amount. So it means in that pay bill, maybe the officer still had 10,000, and it is also possible to recover the remaining, but the difference. Maybe Kirer will answer, or anybody, because if this disciplinary process has started, the county should have been able to collect or to even recover the amount. Number two, this is one isolated case that was detected by the department. And that is why Dr. George Guerrero was saying they are the ones who even started reporting the officer for investigations to start. And probably it was later on picked by the Auditor General. But then I can confirm here, Chairman, that we still, even with the current system that we have, and I can confirm to CEC, I've really been keen. I made a stop the other day in Kapsuser Market on a Saturday, and not a single officer from the county was collecting anything. I was wondering, are we really collecting? Number two, today is June. When the county government issued invoices to the various business establishments, I can confirm here today that we have so many shops, even within this town, Kericho town, who've not paid for the single business permits. I went to Sondu and I was doing a transaction in my own pesa, and the person was, giving me the money, was telling me the county government of Kericho came and they left. They gave them the invoices. They have never gone back to even demand for the payment. What the county government has actually achieved in Sondu is the bus, and because of the regulations that are required. So otherwise, Waziri Rob, we can have a system, and the system, even an individual can collect on behalf of the county using that system, because it's a pay bill where somebody can only need to enter the PIN. So what I'm simply saying, in case ya Chesimet can only be one isolated case, but we have so many cases. On Sunday, so that I wind, we were in a church in Soin, and the traders from Kipsitet, some of them approached us, and they said, these people from the county government, bado wanakuja huko, wanawaambia, badala ulipe around 12,000 and something, just give us 5,000, hizo zingine tutaja. I mean, Rob, we are still not collecting, and it's unfortunate. I don't know what you can do. That is why if you check from the first half of the financial year report from the controller of budget, the only department that managed to almost clock 50% is health. But then OSR is 61 million. And of course you cannot tell us because you are not collected from the single business permits. We have the markets where you are not even collecting, even in this own Kericho town. So maybe what I expect from Kirer is, how is it difficult? We are not able to recover the 141,000 from the officer, yet we've confiscated the, in any case you've said the case is before the relevant agencies. And then you also confirm to this committee then that are we really collecting Amabado? You can even give this committee the current status of OSR. Forget about the health.
Thank you very much, Honorable Gonya. Kirer?
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Chair. When this discussion was going on, my colleague from Public Service Management came in. Maybe they can shed more light on the matter, and the CEC in charge of the department. But in a nutshell, there are several issues that have been raised that I'd like to address. Number one, Honorable Matthew mentioned the aspect of if you can investigate. I was not insinuating the Assembly cannot investigate. I was just saying me talking about it. Yes, that was my key point. On how much we can divulge of what is ongoing and everything else without, again, being prejudicial to the whole process. Secondly, yes, Honorable Bosuben, you have asked about about the gentleman could have seen a loophole that is there. The PFM environment is highly regulated, and there's no lacuna. Should government realize a gap today, an amendment of the PFM will come out tomorrow and it will pass in record time, because public funds, because of the nature and the sensitivity of the public funds. So in the county treasury, there's something called a register of bank accounts, which is the Director Accounting Services is meant to maintain, and the OAG team can confirm that. Now, from that register of bank accounts, it has all our bank accounts and payment portals, and it serves only one purpose, so that that is clearly visible to everyone, the county treasury, OAG, and everyone, that these are the accounts being run by the county government, because they are being used to collect and disburse public funds. Yes, you have mentioned about the aspect of what strategies we have done. Yes, mapping of revenue streams. There's an allocation from, it was in our work plan under KDSP. We appreciate the development partners out there helping us, because this in itself is a tedious activity, and the budget implication was enormous. So in the work plan for KDSP, and we are aware 2 weeks back is when the County Government Additional Allocation Act came out. So that is the legislation that will disburse the donor funds, almost all of them. We are yet to receive anything as of today. So the aspect, there's something I've usually mentioned, and based on the work plans we have had on revenue over time, and touching even on the aspect of Ajiwa Shamji, Honorable Bosuben has mentioned, is as recent as 2 weeks back, we had all the business people from the natural resources sector. We call them, and the nature of our discussion was we had the receiver of revenue chairing the meeting, that is the CEO water environment, because Kuare Madam says anything you are from natural resources is their revenue stream, are there people who are willing to have to collaborate and partner with us? And I can confirm Ajiwa Shamji came on board, such that now, in line with the PFM, the PFM Act allows the head of county treasury to enter collaboration and partnerships and appoint these people as agents of revenue, the same way KRA appoints the county government of Kericho to be an agent to deduct pay as you earn and submit to them. The same law allows the county governments to have an agreement on the same. So this is something that is as recent as last week, because over time we have always talked of collaborations and partnerships, because of the biggest weakness in revenue, which is the human element. I know all of us agree to that. And even the issue we are discussing right now is a human weakness. We cannot really be moral police and make sure everybody lives morally, but what we can do is strengthen the structures that are in place and ensure that everything goes through the proper channel. When this matter came up, the head of county treasury, I'm very vivid and will provide that documentation, wrote to all accounting officers to declare if there is any other payment platform or bank accounts they have opened, either for regularization, but before we regularize, find out what has been transacted through those accounts. When this issue came up, and that communication, Honorable Matthew was saying we distance ourselves, we wrote that, and it came very clearly from the head of county treasury to all the departments. So, yes, Honorable Rogonya has mentioned the aspect of these revenue streams, and it still boils down to the human aspect, and Waziri rightfully put it. And we have a process that is at the tail end. We are aware of the 30 revenue clerks. We are bringing in on board the director revenue. And in fact, before we left the office, we are being told by the Public Service Board we are being given that information for subsequent appointment as the county treasury. The process is complete. What are we trying to do? Is we are trying to bring this team on board. I know we have limited time left. And just again to mirror this to the accrual accounting, any invoice that was issued by the county government, in cash basis, when it hits 30th June, there never used to be such a report. So in accrual accounting, there's a revenue receivable, which will be a figure in the financial statements. Those are all the bills we have issued without payments, without corresponding payments. So I can confirm to this Honorable House that going forward, now that we are in accrual, any invoice, and we have a register of all the invoices issued, even if it comes to next year, the invoice that was meant to pay that will not be forgiven or forgotten. It will remain as a permanent government record, which now, at some point now, should it be approved procedurally difficult to collect this money, the county government can engage an auctioneer to go for the money. But we are not saying we have been defeated in collecting the same. So we want this team, the fresh blood, to come on board. We'll have an induction for them, and part of the induction is an RRI. We'll literally go out to the field with the new recruits. Exactly, with this very specific reason to have hands-on induction on the job. And then now, we see how we work on the human resource aspect going forward, subsequently, incrementally, because of the wage bill in the next financial year, 25-26, add another number. I know we will get there. It might look like a tedious and slow process, but we will get there. The moment we address the institutional framework, and I appreciate to this Honorable House, recently we had a sit-down, a joint committee was formed to look into the revenue board bill for the Kericho County, and I think we have made subsequent progress, and I know you have that information because the joint secretariat was from the executive and this Honorable House. The moment we have in place the institutional framework, I say the legislation is very clear. The law is already on our side. It is just the institutional framework and the institutional arrangement, and we are working on them continuously. Thank you. Maybe I would ask if you would want an input from public service management, but you will guide Chair. Thank you.
Chair. One thing, George. Have you embarked to collect the revenue in Litain and Chepseon? And how far have you gone in engaging for the border sector so that they can pay something for this county?
Yes, thank you, Chair. We have had discussions with the department. Borders, for example, are in the public works, roads and transport sector, and there's a receiver of revenue in that specific stream. What came out from that specific sector is that the strategy that can work well for that sector, Honorable Chair, is collaboration and partnership. We agree with them. The head of county treasury, we enter into a written agreement with them because, again, chasing them around, it will be so murky and it will be very violent to try to enforce using brute force from that sector for reasons known to all of us. So Waziri has sat through a meeting, and maybe we'll give a brief with that specific sector, the Matatu sector and that sector, because of the nature of their operations. For those markets you have mentioned, Honorable Matthew, there are some interventions that need to be done by the county government. And in the budget we provided to this House, revenue as treasury we are looked at when it comes to collection of revenue. The disconnect usually is the receiver of revenue is another department. And now again, the other department, the receiver of revenue is designated, should subsequently appoint collectors from their department. Ours is the custody of that money and making sure it hits the CRF as provided by the PFM Act. So in the budget that is in this Honorable House, Waziri prevailed even to the line departments, that is trade and the other, for interventions to be done to those sectors. They are mostly on sanitation issues, they are mostly on lighting issues, and they are mostly on roadworks within the grounds in which the traders are applying their business, and fencing of sale yards. And if you look at all those aspects, in the envisioned revenue board bill, we were saying the revenue board will be given some small budget that they can do even basic renovation. Because now when cross-functional linkages between departments come in, coordination sometimes become a challenge. Because now, as Treasury, we are really trying to send people. When they get there, they are attacked with stones, and you are told your colleagues in the line departments who were here yesterday, and they, or 2 months ago, they promised they'll do ABCD. For self-preservation, Mheshimiwa, my officers will just have to retreat. It gets violent. We have police cases whereby it has gotten violent. So we want to appreciate these out, and we want to believe that continued cooperation and reaching out to the members of the public will enable us move progressively towards that. So, Chair, all these markets, it is not Litein and Kapsuser alone and Chipseo. They have, it's all the markets spread across the county. That challenge is there. And we are closely working to bring out these linkages so that we avoid a recurrence of whereby there's an outburst in a specific market center. Thank you.
Thank you. Because of time, I know the issue of revenue is wide, and we'll have to have maybe other time to discuss about it and measures that we should supposed to take as a county so that we can be able to improve on that. Let's go to question number 7.
Thank you, Chair. Number 7, inaccuracy of pending accounts payable. The financial statement reflects pending accounts payable balance of Kenya shillings 1,147,933,403 Kenya shillings as disclosed in note 20.1 and detailed in Annex 2 to the financial statement. However, the pending bills expenditures could not be verified as supporting documents were not provided. Further included in the balances are payable in respect of construction of buildings amounting to Kenya shillings 141,592,570, which differs with payable totaling to Kenya shillings 143,706,482, as disclosed in Annex 2 of the financial statement, resulting to unexplained variance of Kenya shillings 2,113,912. Further, an audit examination of the pending bills outstanding from the EMIS payments details revealed that pending bills amounted to Kenya shillings 556,380,770 could not be traced to the IFMIS payment details and IFMIS invoice register. Thank you.
Response?
Chair, that is number 9 in the query. Chair, I want to respond that the variance of Kenya shillings 2,113,912 relates to terminated projects whose values could not be carried forward. Termination letter attached in Annex 9. Regarding the amount of Kenya shillings 556,380,772, it's worth noting that all pending bills are processed up to the payment stage. All bills that the county government plans to settle need a budgetary provision before any processing in IFMIS. However, as we transition to the accrual basis of accounting, all pending bills will no longer be disclosures but will form part of the statement of financial position as liabilities. This will enable the county government present a true and fair view of the state of affairs. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I think this question of the pending bills that are verifiable now, are you able to provide details of the pending bills in question, including the invoices and payments? The payments that are approved.
Chair, all these pending bills list is with us, and it is already captured even in our financial statements. And we reported to all the offices that is recognized by law, the Office of the Auditor General, the Office of the Control of Budget, the Treasury. So this list is with us.
How was it verified?
We established a committee.
As legitimate county?
We established a committee in county treasury to look into all the pending bills, to ascertain that they all had supporting documents.
So what we need is the documents from that committee.
Yes.
On how they did that and the verified pending bills that they came up with. It is very important for us to look at those documents.
Right.
So that we can say the issue is addressed.
Right.
Honorable Matthew.
Okay, Chairman, I might not be having a question on this, but I want just to know from George and CPA Fernandez what will happen for historical pending bills now that we are going to e-procurement, that will become a full e-procurement. What will happen now to those historical pending bills? I remember before I was elected, I was a contractor's official, and we have a number of pending bills that is not even captured in anywhere. But I want to know what will happen going forward, because this one does appear before the PAC and Auditor General's report. But what will happen now going forward, that we have a number of pending bills that is not captured and a number of contractors are suffering outside there? What will happen as we proceed or we take these other people to e-procurement? Thank you.
Again, I would like to know from you, why were these bills not captured in the IFMIS? And yet there is a reconciliation report that was provided.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. To respond to Honorable Matthew, the EGP, which is a government procurement system, is for procurement. However, it doesn't move away from IFMIS. It is integrated with IFMIS. So we will get direction from the National Treasury on how to process. But what I know is this is a system which is integrated. We've always been settling pending bills using a template called pending bills template. We will get direction from the National Treasury on whether that pending bills template will still be applied or if there will be another way to process the pending bills. But that template has always been used before to process pending bills. Honorable Chair, on the question of why these were not captured in IFMIS, this is an issue of insufficient budgetary allocations. If you look at some of the affected departments, for example, in roads, they have historical pending bills, but they committed the entire budget appropriation for that financial year in current year's projects, that is 2023-2024. And having exhausted their budgetary allocation, there is no way you could now capture these pending bills in IFMIS. And it applies even to other departments. There's a department like Trade, which had their budget slashed. And there was no way now that these pending bills would be captured in IFMIS. So the main reason is insufficient budgetary allocation. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Maybe to be candid and to be frank, now that we are moving from cash basis to accrual, don't fear to tell these people that if they have not been captured, if they have not been documented, that's forgotten. We need to be factual, because we don't need to massage each other. Because on accrual basis, if the pending bill has not been documented or captured, it's forgotten. Is that true, CPA? Director?
think this question will not make some people here to believe that I have pending bill with the county executive. But let me ask on behalf of the other 600 people who are pending bill with you people. CPF Fernandez, you have just told us that in Roads Department we have historical pending bills. And the problem with the department, they normally take the money and budget and prioritize the current works. But it is a directive from the President and from the Treasury that the first charge is the pending bill. I want just to know, Honorable President has just put across a word that it is not captured and it's not documented. I think also I can say if there is a contractor or a supplier who is doing undocumented works, it's just a matter of supporting the county to run, in other words. So, but I want to know if pending bill is the first charge, is the Roads Department and other departments as operating outside the directive? What is the role of the Treasury, the county Treasury? What is your advice to these departments that they are working outside the directive? And also, if what we are seeing even is not captured in the IFMIS, who is to be blamed? The contractor, the county treasury, or the department? Either way, Roads Department, Agriculture Department, and other departments. Another thing is that we have other departments also, they still issue works using 1 shilling. I think they send you a work with 1 shilling. That is what the people are talking outside there. But I don't want to be captured in the hands that there is a work that's meant for 1 shilling. Waziri, what is your plan to ensure that this pending bill is clear? If not all, at least some being paid, especially the historical pending bills. Because when you tell us there's someone who did a road in 2013 or 2014, up to date is not yet paid. And the same road that has been done more than 5 times. So I want to know, how can we help them get paid as well?
Chair, I think this issue of pending bills has been thorn in the flesh for quite some time to us. I believe all chief officers are formally, and I want to confirm to you that I appointed them as the accounting officers of the respective departments. The law applies to all of us. It's not only Treasury, it's not only the accounting officer for Treasury to implement the law. It applies, it cuts across all the departments, and I expect the officers, and when we issue closure or end year closure circular, we quote those very particular sections, especially on issues pending bills, instructing them that if anything occurs at the closure of financial year and an event that took place was not made because of on-source revenue that we never attained or the exchequer that we never received, make sure that those payments that are now called pending bills will form the first charge. In that instruction we give them at the closure of financial year, every year. But apparently, I think some officers take things for granted. The way you are saying, His Excellency, the President has given a direction that we must make first charge in every financial year. We will act on that. We will implement that. It is a law. It is already there. And I know, as you know, that budgets belongs to a particular financial year. We will be saying these projects were meant for my ward and that was not done because, you know, we allocate the resources and yet it has not been done. So I think the officers are trying to balance between
the current activities vis-a-vis the previous year's activities. And that has been a challenge. But we want to implement the law to the letter so that anything that has been recognized and captured as a pending bill for a particular department must form the first charge. And I believe when we were going for our first requisition, the first 140 million, if I'm not wrong, was all for pending bills. There wasn't anything else. We went for it. We tried as much as we could to reduce the pending bills. And that I want to guarantee this honorable house that we will do it, even come this financial year. I've already instructed, I've already told the departments, if you don't have sufficient budget, don't commit. As was rightly put by Honorable Hesron, a pending bill must be supported. It must have documentation. It must have the award letters. It must have been inspected if it was a road to report that actually the works took place. But if those documentation are not there, in the current accrual, and the judge will speak to this, it will not be recognized, because you must support what you call a pending bill fully so that it can be recognized as payables. And if it is recognized, you have to be paid, because once it has been captured, we cannot escape. It must be paid. But if somebody, as you have rightly put, Honorable Matthew, did the works by word of mouth, that is dangerous. That is dangerous, and we will not, because wherever I sit, I don't know how many roads are being done. And if an officer instructed some contractor to do a job so that later on documentations will be done or will follow, then that is an illegality. And I remember our first meeting when we held with the contractors, we instructed them not to accept verbal jobs. Award letters must be there. The contracts must be signed. So to make you now, how can we relate with you? You are telling me I've done a road for the county, yet you have no documents to support that. How then can I prove that you ought to be paid? Judge, principle of accounting.
I think Waziri has aptly put it, and Mheshimiwa Hezron, what you say is that is the position. There's no need to really go around trying to use other words. That is the position. Previously, pending bills were just in cash basis a disclosure requirement. You put a list as an annexure, and you are done as per the standards there. In accrual accounting, they'll go in as payables in the statement of financial position. That is the biggest statement. It shows the net assets of the county. So, going forward, and you know now, even in this first year of adoption of IPS as accrual, is we have to have opening balances. So we'll take the certificate we are talking about, change the figures that are there, not change the figures, translate those figures to the new framework of accrual so that we have opening figures to use as comparatives in the financial statements we'll do as a for the period that will end in 30th June. And recognition in accounting, there are 3 bare minimums. Level of certainty that an obligation or an asset arose from the transaction, there are future benefits, and you can conclusively value, even if it's a pending bill or even if it's an asset, you have to have a value, attach a value to it. If those 3 requirements are not met, you do not recognize in the financial statements. And just like we are saying of pending bills, no documentation, so which means you don't even know the value. You do not even know where the asset is because the voucher will tell us the name of the road. And that is just the plain truth as it is. So we are still awaiting guidance in the past reporting cycle, though we already have the templates. In the quarterly financial statements we have forwarded to this Honorable House, those are in accrual. Sometimes even when we are trying to interrogate them, I know, but we'll get there. We'll build the capacity over time. Comparing accrual and cash side by side, you cannot do it. The treatment of the entries and everything, it is a total shift, but I know we will get there when that time comes. So, yes, the pending bills, all these figures in the financial statements have to be supported. So, thank you, Chair.
One proposal, Chair. I don't know the certainty of a historical pending bill, considering that I don't think the historical pending bill will see light of the day if they fail to be captured by the committee which was investigating the previous, the task force. I think, and will clarify for us, I think all the historical pending bills were captured by the task force. Other pending bills which arose after the task force, if not documented again, is forgotten. So I think the main, the knowledge behind the accrual is to kill the issue of pending bill going into the future. So maybe what we need to, as honorable members and as a county, before we do this budget, we have to ensure that we accommodate all the eligible pending bills. If they fail to be captured, hiyo sasa imekuwa kazi ya kanisa.
Thank you. Maybe again, thank you. Are you done? If you are done, thank you. Now, in this issue of pending bills, Waziri, yes, we have formed an ad hoc committee that is looking at the pending bills. This ad hoc committee actually was formed as a result of the report that we interrogated in this house, the last report. It helped us so that we can be able to understand how pending bills and what kind of pending bills do we have in this county. It's also a mandate as an oversight committee, as an oversight to actually look at what's happening with pending bills. I think I heard you say that in the accrual accounting, pending bills would no longer be treated as disclosure, but liabilities. So I don't know how liabilities, when it's a liability, it means you still have an obligation as a county to pay. Correct. So we need to understand so that we don't scare, because you see the contractors already are in problems. Some of them are languishing in poverty because of pending bills. So if we say we will no longer have recognition of pending bills, I don't know whether the true position of it, you need to explain to the public so that they can understand what does it mean when you say disclosure, and what does it mean when you say it's a liability, and how is liability treated, so that you can be able to understand moving forward. But on that again, there is this amount of 380,772, which was not captured in IFMIS. And I'd like you to explain why this amount was not captured in IFMIS, and even the invoice register has not captured this amount. Do you have an explanation for that? Maybe you need to answer that. And again, because we requested for documents, we will need the following documents: the approved purchase orders, we will need the goods received notes, and the invoice approvals to verify the pending bills, the documentation for pending bills, so that we can be able to look at it. Otherwise, I know since we have the other committee, it's also important that you can still supply the same documents to the same committee. But this one is for the sake of this report. So the question of 5,6,380,772, why is it not appearing anywhere in IFMIS?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I explained why this was not captured in IFMIS. Is it's because of insufficient budgetary allocation. I'll give an example. In finance, for example, we have the strategic intervention projects, which are multi-year. In the appropriation, the budgetary allocation is not enough. So, and what we've carried into our pending bills are the unpaid amount based on what we've paid so far using the contract value. And we'll find for us now to process these pending bills, we have to receive the interim certificates, for example, to process. But what we have carried, since these are multi-year projects, they will still form part of the pending bills. And due to insufficient budgetary allocation, we couldn't capture these ones in IFMIS. I'll also give an example. In the Department of Trade, for example, the budgets were slashed. And people had already been awarded MSOs and they had carried out their works. Automatically, these will become pending bills due to the fact that you cannot process and enter them in the system. So the main reason is insufficient budgetary allocation. Thank you.
Chairman.
Yes, Honorable Matthew.
On the next 9, that is our Waziri support document. This just for the notification of termination of tender for Sumayon, a pit latrine, 3-door pit latrine in Sumayon ECD Center. What I suggest is that if it is possible, so you apply the award letter so that we can know the actual amount of this terminated contract. The same with this one of notification, one classroom at Kapsilangwa ECD Center, Caps House. If it is possible, so that we can get to know the amount, because this is just but a termination letter using the tender number and the name of the project, nothing to show that it was how much. So that's my request, so that you can attach.
Thank you. Hope you have noted that. Now, let's move to the next question.
Maybe Chairman.
Okay.
Chairman.
Honorable.
Apologies, I arrived late, Chairman. And to the Honorable CC and the team, I'm Roti Charon, MCS Recruit. I'm just amazed by what the director has said about the 556 million that cannot be traced in IFMIS. You mean you are saying that the whole sum of 556 million could not be traced in IFMIS? The whole sum? Because you see, the way you have explained, you are saying that these ones could be SI. So to mean SI projects could not also go through IFMIS. Because SI, as the way I understood, are things that are advertised publicly and they must go through IFMIS. So to tell us that this 556 could be SI, then how could this figure land without going through IFMIS? Can you make me understand? Because like I'm slow, but I want to understand. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Aaron. I've given an example of SI projects, for example. If we look at, say, Kimonogit Water project, for example, we signed a contract and awarded. What we carry in our pending bills is we carry the contract value less all the payments that have been made year to date since the inception of the project. So the balance, if it is 50 million, is that is what will go to our pending bills, because these are already commitments which we've signed the contracts. However, when we come to processing the payments, but perhaps at that point in time, we receive maybe a certificate of a less amount. We will have that as paid, but we'll still carry forward the remaining balance as a pending bill. And that is why, and even in the appropriations, There has never been enough budgetary allocations for the strategic intervention projects, and I know you are a member of the Budgets and Appropriation Committee. You are fully aware of that we've not had a full budgetary allocation for strategic intervention projects. The other one is about the historical roads pending bills for the Department of Roads, and as Waziri had explained earlier, was designated the accounting officers in those departments, and actually when processing pending bills should be first charged in the budget. However, that has not been the practice. What is processed is for the current year's projects, and now these historical ones, which relate to even 2016, 2017, some 2018, 2019, have not been processed, and part of the reason that we've received is that there has been an issue with the documentation for some of them, and that is why they have not been able to process. So these ones cannot go into the system because there is no enough budgetary allocation. Remember, for you to generate an LSO, you need a budget, a line item in the IFMIS. So if you don't have that, it means you will not be able to capture this in the system. I hope, yes.
So to mean that this was made, 5 to 6 million was made, and payment was made, right? Or 5 to 6 million. Is it that this is saying that 5 to 6 million was paid, but did not go through FMIS? Would I be wrong?
If you look at our payment bills, was 1,147 million. What was captured is a balance of what, around 400 and something. This 556 could not go into the system because of insufficient budget.
All right.
Thank you. We need to proceed to the next question.
Thank you, Chairman. Emphasis of matter, budgetary control and performance. The statement of comparison of budget and actual amounts reflects final receipts, budget, and actual comparable basis amounting to Kenya shillings 7,604,644,288 and Kenya shillings 6,353,000,000 and 481 respectively, resulting to underfunding of revenue of Kenya shillings 1,251,637,807, or 16% of the budgets. Similarly, the statement reflects final budget expenditure and actual on comparison basis of amount of Kenya shillings 7,604,644,288 and Kenya shillings 6,123,097,776 respectively, resulting to under absorption of Kenya shillings 1,481,546,512, or 19% of the budget.
Response?
Honorable Chair, the management acknowledges the auditor's observation. This was due to the underperformance of the underperformance of the budget was as a result of late exchequer releases, the unrealized grants, and donor funding, and also revenue. This impacted negatively on planned activities. The county government has put in place measures to improve also revenue by enforcing provisions in the Finance Act, developed the Kericho County Revenue Administration and the Management Bill 2021 and the Revenue Collection System. Chair, we budget using grants that has been shown to departments that they are going to receive. Donor funding, even this financial year, I know we are heading there. Several of them have already been captured in the budget, but apparently we don't receive. So it makes us to look like we are underutilizing our budget, yet in reality we never received those resources. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Now, let me ask you, Waziri, what are the main source of revenue that maybe you were not able to collect? The main ones, because you see, it means you are over-projecting in some revenue streams, and maybe you are not able to achieve, or there are revenue streams that are supposed to give us more revenue, but you are not hitting the target. Maybe you need to know the key revenue streams that maybe you did not achieve.
And unless I go through the revenue reports, Chair, I may not be in a position to really give you the figures. But then we have already, like now, what we are doing, and that is what I insist with the officers who have been appointed to collect or to receive the revenue. Even when I was doing the circular, the closure of financial year circular, I have instructed each accounting officer to work towards achieving the targets of their revenue streams. And each one knows, because whenever we pass the Finance Act, we give copies to all accounting officers so that they can now look at their areas where they are supposed to be collecting revenue. I know the challenge we are facing currently could be the border sector, but all the other revenues are performing fairly well. We had an issue, definitely, of course, on land rates, property rates, because of the valuation. We gave them the waiver, and that has been also an area of challenge.
But because you see, I know as the heads of revenue and treasury, you should be able to be having at your fingertips. Even if you are asked today which revenue stream is the leading one, you should be able to know that maybe land rates.
Chair, I think my director here is supporting me, that in the last financial year, for example, we never received from the exchequer the equitable share of revenue from CRA 536,250,393. We also didn't receive the local collection to a tune of 170,406,982. That is the OSR. We were also down in the facility improvement by 54,091,640. We also have these conditional grants. You know, my eyes don't see. We didn't receive 9,297,833. This was on library services. We also didn't receive on livestock. Is this the value chain support project? 71,618,400,000.
Maybe, Chair.
Yes,
maybe on the same. I would want to Waziri, because you are the receiver of revenue. Remember, I would want to understand, Waziri, the issues of alcoholic drinks or beverage. We are told that you are collecting and you are consuming about over 90%. Can you confirm? Because you see, this one is very serious. Because how do you collect, let's say, like 13 million, for example, in the whole year, and you are consuming 11 million? Would that be, what could be the problem? Because now, as the receiver of revenue, which advice are you going to give? Because now, we cannot be every financial year that we are collecting and over 90% we are consuming at the same time. All the same, alcoholic drinks and beverage.
I think the alcoholic drinks and beverages, we are, the other day, the department brought the law. They want a total amendment. We want to amend the whole law of alcoholic drinks so that we can really align that law to the BFM, so that we should be indicating how much will go. We will not be allowing them to spend at source. They will collect everything to our CRF account, and then now they will come for an AIE to spend. And that will cure what is happening now. And I think that law is being amended.
Yes, but Waziri, why would you wait until the public outcry is actually going in the air? Then you start now saying that we need to to do something about it. You know, Waziri, we cannot be sitting now that we are short on our OSR.
Correct.
And now someone is there in the office collecting and eating everything. You know, that is a very serious thing that we need to also tell our officers that they should actually take note of that. Because we would not envisage, we don't want, Waziri, that every financial year we are actually undergoing such challenges in the account. I think that one is very something that needs to be done.
We are working on that, honorable members. I think the law, the total repeal of that act is underway. Yeah.
In short, what you should say is, do you have something, Claire?
Yes, just to add on what Waziri is saying, since Mheshimiwa Aaron, it is the law that was passed in 2014 that limits us in that. But equally as county treasury, because we are signatories in that account, I can report that we have already swept 5.5 million from that account to the CRM. Yes, we did that intentionally so that now not everything is spent. So we progressively do that, not to add the operations to comply with the law passed by this honorable house, but at the same time show that these can equally be a revenue stream. So as of today, we already have 5.5 million. We are targeting another 2.5 million before 30th June, so that at least they'll have brought 8 million to the coffers. I think that will be a good move going forward. But the repeal of the law will now bring everything to the central port, and then we give the mayor ease just like any other department in the county government, and they transact their business. Thank you.
No, just to add what Kira said, that is locked out in 5 million. So you are looking out 5 million, and what was the total collection? Because now, if you said you were looking this one, vis-a-vis, give us the total collection.
Yes, you know, the aspect of liquor, that is what we call in government sin tax. We really cannot again say it is closely related to from hospitals, because this is a social ill. Again, you have to collect revenue, at the same time regulate the consumption and even the production of liquor drinks. So subsequently over the years, we have been working with a figure of around 15 to 17 million, the cyclical nature of the licensing and the potential of Kericho. Because at the same time, we cannot say we put 30 million, which means we license more liquor businesses, which again goes against social beliefs of some members of the public. So we are talking about 15 to 17, and we said now, we incrementally over time, we don't wait for 30th June, the balance that remains to sweep it, but now we progressively through the quarters sweep an amount now of around 2 million per quarter. At the end of the year, we have 8 million that contributes to other government programs within the trade department, and so that it supports the bottom line. So we hope going forward, like I said, the issue of mapping, ADSP is coming. Liquor license will be part of the program, whereby now we'll know the true potential for budgeting purposes. And the frameworks have been developed by the Commission on Revenue Allocation, and we are just waiting for funding, and then we do the rollout. Is when we can adequately estimate, and we close out this discussion on revenue, that we have this specific number of M-Pesa shops. That program will come to sort that and close that chapter once and for all. Say that now, if new business coming in, you have a database, you are just increasing the number, or those that fall over in the financial year is just reducing the number. Thank you.
And the chairman, maybe just to summarize, I want also to bring to the attention of the members, together with the CC and the staff. Remember, I can recall something somewhere last week. I was strolling with my legs somewhere within town here. I found a county vehicle, and I would reveal when that time comes. I stopped a vehicle. He stopped. Driver stopped. I went inside. You know what I found inside was serious money inside the county vehicle. Chairman, I think this one should be very clear. And I'm trying to find out if the vehicle could also be on the issues collecting the money for beverages, the issues of alcoholic drinks. And I think that vehicle and the driver will one day will summon them to this house. Because you see, how do you get a serious vehicle, quantity vehicle carrying a lot of money inside? Because I was asking him to drop me somewhere there. Then I stumbled, a lot of money, they said, yeah, man, I was shocked. It's about 10 million or so. What? You know, that is serious. Yeah? You know, a lot of money, they said. Then I was telling the driver, what is, so give me something small. He told me, Hawakubo. Then I went and stopped and went away. So, there are a lot of issues, Chairman. Proceed.
That one.
That's a very serious
that is serious.
allegation. Maybe we'll
Very
need
serious. It
to
ought to be investigated.
substantiate more so that we can get more information about that. Now, the issue of revenue, the issue of budgetary control is very important. The reason why I was talking about the key areas where you collect revenue, you realize, I realized that more effort is being put on car park. And when I looked at the revenue streams, car park raises around 25 million. SPP raises almost 100 million. And I saw land rates raises over 200 million. But now where are we putting more effort? You find that the revenue collectors mostly are running around chasing the vehicles only to collect 25 million. Where do we need to put our effort? We need to put our effort where we have the high stakes.
Correct.
Because look at the land rates. How much are you collecting from the land rates? At least you should all be able to collect almost 85% or 95% of the land rates. That means we'll have more revenue from that. But if you talk about, you talk about the alcoholic drinks, which is giving us 5 million, and you are putting a lot of energy. Let's put a lot of energy where we have the main source of revenue. Again, we need to work smart, because you need to be realistic, achievable, and again, to be in tandem with what we are going to collect, so that when we have a budget, the budget should actually match with what we collect, so that I know again it will lead to not having even pending bills, because we are realistic with everything. We better do 2 or 3 projects that you are very sure that you are going to deliver, rather than promising 10 projects, which most of it will go to pending bills. So I believe this one is a subject, a discussion that maybe we need to engage more, so that we help each other to actually meet the budgetary control performance. Thank you. Next question.
Thank you, Chair. Long outstanding pending accounts payable. Other important disclosures to the financial statement reflect pending account payable balance of Kenya shillings 1,147,933,403 as disclosed in Note 21 and detailed in Annex 2 to the financial statement. Pending accounts payable brought forward to 2023-2024 financial year total to Kenya shillings 526,208,650. However, payable total to Kenya shillings 196,489,526 was settled within the financial year, leaving a balance of Kenya shillings 329,719,124. However, there were additions to the payable during the year under review of Kenya shillings 820,328,191 to accelerate the pending accounts payable to an amount of Kenya shillings 1,147,933,403 as at 30th June 2024. Failure to settle the bills during the year to which they relate distort the financial statement for that year and adversely affect the provision of the subsequent years to which they have to be charged.
Thank you, Chair.
Response, yes, thank you.
Indeed, the pending bills as at the closure of the year under review was Kenya shillings 1,147,933,403. The increase is attributed to unrealized on-source revenue and late disbursement of the equitable share. This impacted negatively on the invoices which were due for payment. To manage the
ever spiraling bills, the management has come up with measures, including appointing pending bills committee to verify, validate, and thereafter advise accordingly. Currently, the county has settled over Kenya shillings 523,413,866. That is as at 31st December 2024. But the figure has already increased, Honorable Chair, to 508 that we have settled so far.
Now, did you handle the long-standing pending bills, that ones that maybe have overstayed? Because I know history and the reports that we have previously is we have pending bills from 2019. Maybe you can clarify that. And then again, if we have such a kind of pending bill, why was not put as a fast charge? Because the law says any pending bill should come in as fast charge. Why do we still have a pending bill maybe from the last 2 years? Yet it should have been paid long time ago. Before the new ones are paid, you should have paid the long outstanding pending bills.
Chair, this is the issue we have really debated on. The reality is that we should actually be clearing the pending bills of that has been in place for long. Apparently, again, the issue of documentation, I think when the officers want to clear, they find out that the payments were not fully supported. So again, it becomes a problem. So they will, of course, rush to those which are already well supported. After all of them are pending bills, and that is what we've tried. We have paid over 580 million Kenya shillings so far.
Okay, but sorry, you should give us if we still have long-standing pending bills. I know we have that other committee. You should be able to give us a very clear picture. I know you talk of documentation, because I don't know if someone can stay for 3 years without providing proper documentation, and yet they want to be paid. Unless you are making priority or prioritizing, or is there any preferred maybe payments that are made, so that others are maybe being kept waiting. Since we still have another forum, maybe that's where we can engage more on the issue of pending bills, because we want to deal with it independently and have proper report on that. Let's go to the next question.
Thank you, Chair. Unresolved prior-year matters. As disclosed under the progress on follow-up of auditor's recommendation section of the financial statement, management indicated that some of the issues have been resolved. However, management did not provide evidence in support of the resolution of the issues.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, the management has appeared before the Senate and the County Assembly, and was awaiting the reports on the same. And I want to confirm to you, Chair, when we sat with you for the 2022-23, we got your report and even the recommendations that were made therein. And I have instructed my officers to look into those recommendations so that we can improve on our performance as per the instructions given in the report.
Now, there are some issues that were touching on the unresolved issues. For example, failure to submit supporting documents has been raising as a concern. And also follow-up on the reports and recommendations. We had a report that we tabled around 3 weeks ago, and we had some recommendations. Though we still follow up through other committees within this county assembly, we hope that you are going to address those issues that were captured. Also, this report, we still table it, and we hope that we will still address other issues that are not solved fully. Otherwise, I know with time we are going to improve, because the target is to ensure that accountability and effectiveness in the use of finance improves with time, so that even in future we don't have a qualified report. We have a better report, which we don't have to come and interrogate much. Otherwise, I would like to ask if is there any question from the members on this question? We can move to the next one.
Thank you, Chair. Report on lawfulness and effectiveness in the use of the public resources. 1. Flagship project. The statement of receipt and payment reflects acquisition of assets amount of Kenya shillings 1,331,707,026 as disclosed in Note 9 to the financial statement. The amount includes payments on construction and civil works of Kenya shillings 436,199,103. That also include payment on flagship projects. However, verification of the projects under the flagship program revealed unsatisfactory implementation of the projects as follows. 1. Construction and equipping of theater at Anamoi Health Center. Included in flagship projects was proposed construction and equipping of an operating surgical theater at Anamoi Sub-County, Hobston. Review of the contract document revealed that the contract sum was Kenya shillings 14,135,859, and the completion date was set at 4th June 2020. The contract period was, however, later extended to 19th August 2022. The project has a budget allocation of Kenya shillings 12,900,000 for finalization and work at 85% completion as of 30th June 2024. However, field inspection in September 2024 revealed the projects are not had installed and the contractor was not on site.
Chair, the management acknowledges the auditor's observation, and Chair, we want to report that the contractor was contacted and he was to resume, and I think he has resumed the works at the time we were making this report. But I have the Chief Officer Economic Planning who can give us a brief on this. Mike.
Thank you, Chair. As Wasiri said, I'm the one in charge of the strategic intervention projects. The nature of the strategic intervention projects, mostly, they are multi-year. And we have been having a discussion, including my colleague here, with the project implementation teams. These projects were awarded some years back, especially the strategic intervention projects phase 1. And the contracted period is what usually gives us a problem, because the contract period may end and the project is not complete. So the issue of documentation, we have to validate the contract before they continue. Like this one of Ainamoi, it was contracted in 2019. When Ainamoi was designated as a COVID holding center, the contractor left site because I think everybody fears contamination of those diseases which were pandemics. And then there was also an issue of climate. But they have come back to the site, and we have renewed their contract. Actually, they were supposed to be on site by 29th last month, but they have now come back because of documentation, including when you extend their contract, there is this issue of also they have to validate what are called bid bonds, their security with their banks. They have to update it so that they can be given a new contract for them to be able to be paid when they have done the work. And this one we have done, and we have renewed their contract, and I think they are on site now. Thank you.
Come on.
Yes, Honorable Matthew.
You will just allow me to bring the Chief Officer to the speed With me, I'm not even satisfied with what you are telling us. Reason is that you are telling us the project was for 2019, and then due to COVID, contractor just decided not to be on site because of the COVID. And then with a lot of stories that cannot even tell whether that you have a report on this project. If you can see the documentation, I remember very well Honorable Cheriat raised a concern about this Inamoi Sub-County Hospital project. And I can tell you, this project is completed. It's only you that you don't even understand whether that the project is done. Because during the pending bills, I remember during the implementation committee, when it was committee of Honours, this project was a concern to Honorable Cheriat. But I want just to know, when this thing appeared before the auditor's report, do you have any report to show that you have just taken a step and go even to check the project? Do you have any report? Because what you are telling us is just but a fable. Do you have a report showing us the status of the project, the latest inspection report? Because when you tell us about COVID, about what, about bid bond, that is not a concern to our side. Our concern is that this project to be completed. And then, if it is possible, can you give us the latest report from either the engineer on site and even your department? Give us the report. This one you cannot answer the way he was answering about the revenue, the till number. This one you must answer with the report to show us that this is the report, this is the status of the project, contractor is on site, what is remaining, so that when we are discussing this thing, we must be having a report. Leave it, Wasiri. Next time, this is a different committee with the other committees that you normally appear before. We want to request you this. These are different committee with that committee of agriculture and the rest of the committee. The way their chairmen are handling, these are different committee, and we want to bring this the speed and forms. Give us the latest report on this project, because we cannot compare this project with Kapkure's water project. We cannot compare this project with Sondu project. We cannot compare this project with any other strategic intervention project, because this one was just amount of 14 million. These are small projects. We cannot compare with the big project that requires a lot of resources. So if it is possible, Chairman, this one we cannot allow. If they cannot give us the latest status report, I think before we retreat for the report writing, Chairman, the department needs to give us the report of this project.
Thank you, Chairman. Allow me to add. Chairman, I think what we are lacking on strategic intervention program is leadership from the Department of Planning, because you know those are lame excuses. If there is projects, every year we allocate sufficient money is strategic intervention program. There is no day they have lacked any amount. And those projects we have always been allocating on a pool. Whichever comes first, completed first, be paid. Like now, a project like now, Ainamo, a 14 million project, 6 years down the line, I think there is no value for money. I think we need to take, you have to, and do responsible panacea, because I think these are lame excuses. And all strategic intervention program, they have money, but I think leadership has lacked in these projects. You cannot compare with the phase 2 strategic intervention. The rate at which phase 2 strategic intervention are coming up, they are coming
coming up in a supersonic speed, and there is really value for money. So you either answer us correctly and give us a convincing reason why these projects are lacking behind.
Thank you, Chairman. Can I answer?
Answer, yes.
Thank you very much, honorable members. I agree with you. This is one of the most important projects for the county. And I've been there more than 10 times. The first time is when the proposals to remove the asbestos from the referral hospitals was proposed, and it was supposed to be, patients were supposed to be offloaded to Ainamo. But the issue of the theater was becoming a problem. So we went out of our way with the Honorable Ekwang to inspect the facility, form a project implementation team, and contact the contractor who was actually, he had vacated the site for his own reasons. But doing cost-benefit analysis, we contacted the contractor, and during the ward visit in Ainamo on 29th of April, where the governor, His Excellency the Governor, and the area MCA, Honorable Chiruya was there. The contractor has actually assured us that he will complete the project within 1 month. But the issue, as I've said, was documentation. One of the issues which we had with the contractor was the lapse of the contract. In fact, we have a whole file from the project implementation team, which they had even recommended a variation of contract. In other words, if it was becoming impossible for the contractor to complete the project, there was a possibility of termination. But as I said, when we did the cost-benefit analysis, it is for the benefit of the county that the project is completed. And we contacted the contractor, and he was on site on that day. He has given us a request for extensions of contract, and we have signed those extensions of contract based on what the project implementation team has the report they have given us. And the contractor is on site. They have also given us the total cost of the project is 14 million. We have paid up to 8 million, point something. The remaining is around approximately 6 million. They have given us an interim certificate of 3.3 million, which could not be paid immediately from the advice from the finance before the contract is validated and before the works are completed. And those are the conditions we have given the contractor. So I'm positive of what I'm saying because I've gone there several times. I've been in that theater. The actual work is almost 82% to 90% complete. It just needs a small amount of effort to complete that project. And it is in the bottom of our hearts that that project is completed within the shortest time possible. The contract period we have extended for only 2 years. What we were avoiding was advice from finance department whereby we extend contracts until it becomes almost open-ended, indefinite, you see? So we have to come to a closure at some point with this extension of contracts, especially for those projects which are multi-year. Thank you, Chairman.
Yes, Honorable Matthew.
Chairman, Waziri and the team, if you can allow us, Waziri, if it is possible, and I think it is possible, the Department of Economic Planning provide us with comprehensive report of all strategic intervention projects, including this one of Ainamo Health Center. The reason is, Waziri, when we do budgets every year, sometimes we just fix things to happen because we know we have the little resources. It is not enough for all of us. Yeah. But sometimes we just assume that what we have budgeted for health might not be enough, but can boost somewhere. But I want to ask CEO in charge of economic planning that you give us the report. Give us the report, especially concerning this one. Before even we talk of Londiane Tamak, this one, we have interest on this. The reason why we have interest is that now that the Riverol Hospital is closed, and it has taken a long time since this thing was realized that the contractor was not on site. September 2024 to date is roughly how many months? 8 months, or 6 months, or 7 months. So, Chairman, it is possible the Department of Economic Planning to tell us by by a report. You just do a report with the status of this project, because our people are going far. Imagine someone coming from Ainamoi to just cross Ainamoi Health Center to come and go to Kapkaten or Sigawet, for example, while we have the facility. Already we have located resources to that project. But it is only your end that you push the contractor to complete the project. Nevertheless, you have just, we have been discussing about the issue of the pending bills here. Why don't you push the contractor to finish up the project so that he can join the rest of those who are crying about the pending bills together?
Thank you, Chair. In fact, I pushed the contractor until it's almost becoming personal, personal. But I'm taking the personal initiative to look for him. As I said, subject to the prevailing rules and regulations, I can supply the inspection report, the last inspection report, the current one, the extension of contract, the request from that company for payments, and what the action we have taken with the finance department up to today. I can supply the copies of those reports because they are there.
Alphonse, don't tell us that you have pushed the contractor until becoming personal. It needs even to become personal, with the capital letters personal, because that is the project meant to benefit our people. And you are in that office representing some of us. Even as we are here, representing a number of people of this county. So if he is not able even to complete the project, let that thing become personal. To that end that it is personal, so long as the project is completed.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Matthew, and for pushing for that SI project. You see, the regulation says that when there is any SI project, you should allocate enough resources. If you have any multi-year project, you should also have enough resources. That's in the regulations. So, CEO, kindly make sure that before we retreat to go and write the report, you have a detailed report on that project, so that we can be able to have a comprehensive information about that. Thank you. Because of time, we need to move faster. Let's go to the next question.
Thank you, Chair. 1.2, modern market at Sondu. Included under flagship projects was a modern market at Sondu with allocation of Kenya shillings 52 million. The contract for the construction and the completion of the modern Sondu market was signed on 12th June 2019 at a contract sum of Kenya shillings 128,945,229. The contract was for a contract period of 52 weeks, with effect of 14th August 2019. An extension of the contract period was, however, granted for 6 months, and the revised completion date set for 13th December 2024. The contractor has been paid accumulated amount of Kenya shillings 100,442,289, or about 78% of the contract sum, for work satisfied as at 30th June 2024. However, physical verification of the project carried out in September 2024 revealed that the project was not complete despite expiry of the project duration, and the contractor was not on site.
Honorable Chair, the management acknowledges the auditor's observation and wishes to provide clarification that implementation of the project has encountered numerous unforeseen external challenges due to boundary disputes between residents of Kisumu and Kericho counties. The project is situated along the border of the two counties, and unresolved boundary issues have led to frequent clashes over the past 2 years. The conflicts have created security concerns for workers, equipment, and materials at the contractor site. On Chair, it is worth noting that the county, through the project manager, after visiting the site on 30th January 2025, issued a default letter
is attached as Annex 11A to the contractor for immediate resumption to the site within 14 days, failure of which the client will take necessary action as stipulated in the applicable laws. The contractor reported to the site within the said 14 days. The project implementation led by the project manager visited the site on 13th February to confirm the contractor's resumption to the site, which was confirmed to have resumed site, and final touches of the works are ongoing. This is annexed in Annex 11B, and photos of the current ongoing works was also taken. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. I think this issue also was appearing in the previous report. Yes, and I see almost the same issues that you about the conflicts. I think conflicts has been the main thing that you maybe keep using as a reason why the project has not been completed. But now maybe what we need to know is what is the current status of the project, the latest current status of the project. I think I'm happy because we have a member from that side. Honorable One, do you have any clue about the project?
Chairman, maybe I can say something. The response that Waziri has given is the same response that was captured in the previous report. And there was a time we followed up on the same issue. I do not understand why the honorable member thinks the market is situated along the boundary. Actually, the market is squarely inside Kericho. The boundary is meters away from the main boundary. So that contractor has no reason whatsoever not to have undertaken the project. Yet, from the documents that we have here, the county government continues to pay the contractor, who is not always on site. The last time I spoke to Dr. George Kirer, who happens to be coming from the same place, he was telling me contractor is actually on site, and they have confirmed. But, Chairman, you know, whenever I want to pass my time, that is the town I can spend most of my time. And I can tell you, nothing much is going on in that market. Waziri, I want you to be frank to this committee. Kirer can help you. I know also Alphonse of late is camping in that market, sometimes in the evening. Maybe you'll tell us, Alphonse.
Thank you. Thank you. Chair, we actually share that market between the three of us, the church here and Mheshimiwa Apo and me. It's actually in my ward of Sigawe, not Sigawe, Gable Larte. And the contractor is actually a very good contractor at that matter. And that market is almost 90% complete. What the Waziri said was what happened before, and some of the repercussions of inter-county skirmishes sometimes go far. And some people are not brave enough, like Mheshimiwa anaenda huko when there is fights. But sometimes, and Mheshimiwa, I don't go through in the night also. I go through in the day. And the last time I was there is about a month ago, and the contractor is on site. He has actually pledged to complete within 2 months that project. And by the way, Chairman, in our department, we don't have shortage of funds. It's only that the contractors don't complete work on time for them to be paid. I don't have any pending request for payments from any contractor on those strategic intervention projects. It is actually them who are not completing their job on time. And that is the problem I have. And the way Honorable Matthew said, if it is going personal, maybe I'll go to that direction, because those projects are of strategic importance to the county of Kericho. Thank you. Maybe with your request, our market user neighbor.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Mheshimiwa Robon, yes, I can confirm the contractor is on site and the contract is valid, and the revised completion period is 30th June of this year. Now, the recent discussions we have had with the contractor is the aspect of variations at some point, which in some cases it seems it wasn't really documented, which again, the law is very clear, the procurement law is very clear on the procedures that are to be followed in such a scenario. But I can confirm that the contractor is on site. Today is on Tuesday. On Sunday I was there. Like I promised you, whenever I'm in Sondu, I go there, I meet the foreman. He was mixing up the undercoat. I actually found activity happening because I told the contractor, I'll not be asking you when I'm coming to Sondu because that is a long overdue process. And in the public investment management guidelines, really, the moment the project has gone past 80%, it is always advised on the procurement entity to support the contractor and complete it. Terminating it and starting afresh, no value for money, and the government will automatically go at a loss. So those are some of the strategies we are using to support them. I was even asking them that if he can raise a certificate of what he has done since 2024, 30th June, it's totally in order because we still have some wiggle room in the budget for strategic intervention so that he can be paid. So that if at all there will be any further extension, it is just 1 month to finalize and we close out the project. Thank you.
Thank you. We need to move to the next question.
1.3, delayed completion of Kapures water supply project, strategic intervention project for the financial year 2018-2019. The county executive entered into a contract on 30th May 2019 for rehabilitation and construction of Kapures water supply project at a contract price of 87,417,116. The contract period was 12 months from the commencement date of the contract of 5th February 2020. Upon lapsing of the contract period, an extension was granted via letter dated 16th February 2022 to 17th February 2023. However, a performance guarantee provided by the contractor and renewed to 27 December 2023 with Rafiki Microfinance Bank had since expired with no further renewal as was required under Clause 3 of the terms of the contract. The contractor has been paid a total of Kenya shillings 63,713,770 based on interim certificates, and the amount of Kenya shillings 23,348,579 was paid to the consultant during the year for consultancy services of the work. The payment included an amount of Kenya shillings 2,500,000 paid via APC2, being a variation of the works. However, the variation of works was not approved by an evaluation committee before they were submitted through the head of procurement function of the accounting officer approval, as required under Regulation 132(2)(b) of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Regulation 2020. A progress report dated 23rd September 2024 indicated the project was 85% completion stage, with the pending works including fencing, construction of new gravity main from intake to treatment works, and completion of the pipe fittings, twin treatment, work tanks. However, no documentary evidence was provided for requisition and approval of the extension of the contract period and a revised work plans for the work. In addition, the projects had no signage and the contractor was not on site.
Honorable Chair, indeed, as per auditor's observation, Kapures water project is at 85% complete. The delay is attributed to redesigning the main intake works, which was set up near the existing cattle dip. This could have had a catastrophic result, should it have been completed. It's worth noting that the project's gravity main lines, treatment works, major tanks of 100 and 200 meter cubic liters have been completed. Further, additional scope of works and bill of quantities have been completed, and procurement process for the same have been initiated. It is indicated in Annex 11C, and photos of the current works and status of the report of the current status of the project. Chair, because I'm privy to this and I've also been following on this, Chair, I think we have already issued a notification to award the tender, and in due course I think the contractor will be awarded and he will move to complete the remaining site of about 3 kilometers.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Hassan.
Thank you, Chairman. I think the Kapura's water project has been faced as per the CCR said. The new contractor will be coming to do the main rising line. But now I have problem with the former contractor who hasn't completed his work, because he hasn't completed his work. His work is just coming and disappearing. Like yesterday, I had to address an issue whereby he had brought material for fencing. And then when he brought the material, he engaged the locals to fence. And he disappeared without paying the workers, and the workers had already worked. So people were demonstrating. I had to intervene again. So I think this guy is so problematic, and I think it needs attention from you guys. And then the issue now, what was this 23 million for consultant? This money was a lot, huge money. And the said consultant, how can you pay a consultant who has not consulted until the work is done? And the design was shoddy, because now we are forced to redo a project because of poor consultancy services. So can you clarify on this, on the consultant fee of 23 million on this project?
Yeah. Yes. There was no consultancy, it's payment to the contractor. We never engaged any consultant.
But I think the writings are, or what am I saying?
But, yeah, there is no contract for consultancy services.
Let me request the auditor to repeat. Yeah.
Thank you. The contractor had been paid a total of Kenya shillings 63,713,770 based on the interim certificate, and the amount of Kenya shillings 23,348,000 was paid to the consultant during the year for the consultant service of the work. There was 23 million.
Did you see that? Yes, it is very clear that there is 23 million for consultancy, and I think also your question is valid on why are we paying a consultant on a project that maybe even the consultant doesn't appear.
Yeah, with all due respect, I don't remember us engaging any consultant. We are paid the contractor direct.
Do you pay the contractor consultant services, or you are paying for the contract?
This is for the job contract, not consultant.
Then we should be able to know why there is mention of consultancy services, and maybe we'll need to get payment vouchers.
Yeah,
yes.
Chair, you will allow us to look into that payment voucher, whether
yes.
there is that component of consultancy, because I don't I don't think there was a consultant on this.
They normally say an apple fruit cannot fall away from an apple tree. Initially on the preliminaries of these projects, actually there was a consultant.
Initially?
Yeah, there was a consultant who was designing all this, and he was external. So maybe you will come and you check. In fact, there was. when I had complained because he was behind the design of this project. And his designs were so shoddy. That is why most of these projects failed, like Kipkobo and Kimaloget and Kapkures. Was done by one consultant. And I think the consultant failed this project because now most of this project need to be redesigned. Because like Kimaloget, the design whereby the water cannot go to the treatment plant. So I think, can you check? There was a consultant actually.
Allow us, we will check on that, Chair, and we'll give a report on this.
Now, I realized that on my observation, most of these projects was started in 2019, and most of it again is around 85%. So I don't know why it is taking long to complete these projects. Again, on the issue of supervision, I know we have our own staff within the county. I don't know how we are using the staff to actually ensure that whatever is being done is done on the right way. In fact, I have an experience of even those projects that are going on currently, whereby they are not supervised well, and some of these contractors can use shortcuts to do to save on materials and give us maybe poor and quality job. So actually, we should look at how how the county government is supervising projects across the county, so that maybe sometimes it can be fast-tracked. Because the way you are saying is becoming personal, there is no problem because you are actually working for the people of Kericho County. Let it be personal, but let something good and quality and on time again, because we have to save money, value for money. I hope we have captured on those projects. We need to move.
Chairman.
Yes, Honorable Matthew.
I wanted also, it's an observation, wanted to hear from Alphonse that he has managed also to visit this project. And it is an observation that even Wasiri Rob, I think you are coming from that side. I have noted that you have not mentioned even that you have visited the project as well. What happened in Sondu, what is happening in Sondu, Kerera and Alphonse. They are visiting Sondu every evening. So I wanted to know that if you have managed to visit Kapkures and these are the strategic intervention projects.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. Personally, I have visited all the projects under my department, all of them, including even Kimolog, up to the forest where the source is. All of them are up to the mountain. That is why we are replacing that project with another one, which is subject of discussion for another day. So I visited all the projects, starting from Kipsir here. There is a project inside the forest there. There are some elephants. And I visited all of them, including Londiani, including those, Kimologit, Kapoloi, Napa, Tunoi, all of them I visited personally.
Now let me ask you, since the project is within the Department of Finance, do you work in collaboration with the engineers within the water department, or you want to do it as economic and planning? That's why maybe you have a consultant now, because you want to do away with the Department of Water, which is mandated to work, because you should be working with the staff.
No, what happens, Chairman,
yes,
is when a project is conceived, and these are one of the reports when we met with the PI, project implementation or contract implementation teams, which we have for all the projects, including project managers, is that we had a discussion on how this project was conceived. And there are some success rates, and there are some with very low completion rates. And when we looked at the issue, one of them is what the Honorable has said, the poor technical designs to start with. Because for some of these projects to be complete, they had to be redesigned or to be usable, for that matter. Starting with the Kapkures, the water source actually in the original design was a kettle dip, near a kettle dip, which because of the poison from the treatment cannot be used. So the source had to be relocated about 2 kilometers upstream for us to get clean water. For Kimalokit, the design also had some faults. From the source and the distribution, there was no treatment work. So the question of land acquisition around there's some land there used by Catholics or whatever it is, which has been acquired now. There's a treatment works being done there. So when you see the success rate of some of these projects, it starts from poor design and then poor supervision. Most of our members of project implementation teams or contract implementation teams, some are, we saw the qualification of some of them was a bit lower. We have limited pools of staff because we mostly rotate from lands, public works, and water. So you find we are rotating the same staff for the same project everywhere. So you see the members who are supervising Sondu Market, maybe you also the same one supervising to know water project, maybe the same one supervising Londiane Tamak, because we have a limited pool of. So it was even our request that maybe at some point we request the county government if we can employ more staff, especially engineers, water engineers, and public works engineers, because we are rotating almost the same people for that matter. That now will address the issue of supervision. But on top of that, as I said, I've visited personally the whole of them. I usually go with them as the officer in charge of this project, where they are going, even if my name is not written among when they are doing their minutes. I don't want to influence them, but I give them motivation as frequently as possible so that we get updated reports. This project, the way you are saying, Chairman, we also want to bring to an end this project so that we can start new ones. A project from 2019, which only requires 4 million to complete, is wasting everybody's time and resources. We need to bring this project to completion as soon as possible. That's why from the contract we have given with my colleague in finance, because I'm not a finance person personally, I consult them, procurement, finance, and everything else, contract and the rest. We have given them 1 month to 2 months completion of these, especially the old projects, so that we can go to new ones, and then we get value for money. Thank you, Chairman.
Yes, Honorable Aram.
Yes, Chairman, just to ask the CEO, Juan Alphonse, you're talking of establishing another project that is running all the way to Bureti, the SI project. Remember, I don't know that you did what we call feasibility study, and if that was done, can you give us whether you're just taking the same water that you're supposed to be connecting to Bureti, while the Kikobo water project has been allocated a lot of money? Why can't you redesign the same project and connect the people of Bureti with this water, rather than connecting another project that even doesn't have any pressure in my ward? How about now connecting all the way to Bureti? Will there be any pressure? You know, it doesn't beat logic. At times, it's going to do what we call feasibility study. And maybe you can give me something, hint about that.
Thank you, Chairman. For that new project, we also had similar concerns on how is it good to put more bad, is it chasing bad money to an old project or starting a new one? And we consulted engineers both from Kewasco and the Department of Water. There's a very big engineers report which the department used in selecting those projects. And I think Wasiri knows, because the discussions were done in his office until that agreement was reached through an engineer's report, until the PSQs were prepared. And a very big comparison was done between either completing this project or supplying water to the people with a new project at a cheaper cost than throwing good money and bad money. I think I'll give the chance to, with your permission, to Wasiri.
Because I'm interested about the pressure. Remember, my home, that is a retreat, cannot even have pressure, doesn't have any pressure. So what is the need of, again, taking all the line all the way to Bureti, while we don't have pressure here? So that is something that I would want to understand. Because that's how it falls out of finance.
Thank you, Chair. I think the CEO has already elaborated on that. We have a report from the Department of Water that resulted in this issue of using the Dukamoja, the Kewasco water that we decided to extend to Bureti. And I took this again to the cabinet for approval. I didn't want to have a contractor on site without an approval of the cabinet, and I did that with the report that was generated by the Department of Water. So because we found it easier to do the extension rather than going the Kipop. I've never visited the Kipop project.
So you are just presuming that Kipop is dead. So we just close that chapter in what you are saying with the CO. So the money was dumped and then there's nothing going on now.
Because this was a money that was allocated in the SI. In fact, Kipop is in SI. So we said, rather than going to Kipop, why don't we go this route so that we can get this water as fast as possible and get the community getting connected.
So Kipop in short is something that has been dead, like what the CEO said. So something that we cannot talk about.
The department has undertaken to continue with the other one, with the Kipop, in the next subsequent financial years allocation. But for now, we wanted to move fast, and we were seeing an opportunity here that we have sufficient water from Kewasco that could be extended to the lower part of Buret, and we said let's
but if pressure cannot even sustain my area, how is it going to sustain?
The reports that we are given is that we have sufficient water, water. Over 7 million liters were lying here.
So, so the intake could be, you want to increase the intake because we are told also the intake is very small. So I don't know, probably the designs were done and we don't know. It will also need to be submitted probably.
Right.
So that we analyze from our part.
Chairman, to add on what Honorable Aaron has just said is that those connected with Kewasco, taps are dry. From even capsules, leave alone serrated Chepterorian. Capsules, people are not getting Kewasco water. And now you want to use the same pipe. You want to extend the dry pipes now to Buret.
Not dry.
They are dry. Me personally, I'm not using Kewasco water because the tap is not even functional. So I want to know from your end, Waziri.
The report that we
got, Waziri, when you appear before this county assembly during vetting, you promised to advise the governor.
Perfect.
Although sometimes when you give advice, it's upon whoever that is being advised to take it or not. But I want to know, Waziri, we have a project called Kipkobo Water Project. We have spent millions on that project. Now we want to start a different project from Kimuhu to Buret. We have no problem having that project be done to Buret people and prevent the neighbors, that is Chepteroriet and the rest. But I want to ask, Waziri, where's the value of this money that we are spending buying pipes at the same time the contractor on site, the contractor of Kipkobo Water Project is doing the same? According to you, Waziri, do you think that we can do a viable project for even fast people when you work on our taps and you're in a match?
Well, you know, we were guided by a report that was given to us by the MD Kewasco, that in this project we had up to 13 million liters of water that was lying unused. And we thought we could make a kill using this line because it's already in Honorable Nani's ward.
So why not so in ward? Why not Ziga? Why is Buret?
I didn't want to, you know, you are known by the other, but that is not allowed in
you see, Waziri, you are out of order. How can you call me Nani? Can you use the right name?
Sorry.
Thank you very much. Now, let's focus on this report. It's very important also to mention on other matters within the county, but we need to look at this report. Thank you, yes. Now, let's focus on this report so that we can save on time. I hope we have dealt with the issue. Do you still have any question on that? The issue of...
Chairman, I think it is good to put this one on to the conclusion, logical conclusion, because you see, we don't want to be here next year, come next year, on the same, that the project that we did again stalled. So we need prudence of resources, public resources. That is why you are appearing today on defending the audit queries that came mandated from probably some other people's ideas. So Waziri, I think it's high time that you do what you call consultation. I've always agreed, I've always stood firm by the word consultation means concurrence. You know, I don't think there was any consultation, public participation done to the same project. You know, it's good to be very honest. The other day I had someone want to put up my tank in my ward. Was there any public participation? None. The other line, none. I think these projects, Chairman, going forward, we need to tell them either SI or any other. Public participation must be done to the latter. That is it, Chairman.
Thank you very much. I concur with you, Honorable Haron, on the issue of public participation, which is very important and is anchored in the law, that the people have more power and have more say and even more voice. Now let's go to the next question.
Thank you, Chairman. Failure to construct governor and deputy governor's houses. As reported in the previous years, the county executive was required to allocate funds and prioritize construction of houses for the governor and deputy governor on public land in accordance with the specification therein before the stated deadlines. However, at the time of the audit in August 2024, the county executive had not constructed the governor and deputy governor's houses. In addition, a review of the development budget for the financial year 2019-2020, 2020-2021, 2021-2022, 2023-2020, 2022-2023, financial year revealed that there was no budgetary provision for the construction of governors and deputy governors' houses. This was contrary to the SRC circular number SRC-TC of May 2019, and is likely to continue incurring expenditure on houses rent for the governor and his deputy governor, contrary to the SRC circular.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The management acknowledges the auditor's observation. During the financial year 2019-2020, there was a budget of Kenyan shillings 20 million towards the construction of the governor's residence. And under the Department of Lands, Housing and Fiscal Planning, the budget is of course referred there. However, it has been a challenge to execute due to challenging conveyancing procedures related to land. Currently, there are no house rent payments for governors and deputy governors' residents.
Thank you. Now, why has it not been budgeted for in the previous budgeting cycles? Because there should be a provision for budgeting for this construction of the house.
I think, Chair, the issue majorly is on how to get the land, because I don't think we had any PI land that was allocated for any development in terms of housing for the governor and the deputy governor. So we actually to look for land first, then we start making provisions for the same. So that has been a challenge. We could set aside funds like it was done in 2019-2020, but it was never utilized.
Now there is land in Kefuko that was allocated for construction of governor's residence. Did you allocate the budget for that?
And in the 2025-2026 budget, Honorable Chair, I think that provision was never brought before the budget committee by the Department of Lands. But however, we are still in discussion. We are still in discussion on this. We can make a provision on the same because now land is available.
Okay, thank you. Any question? Yes, Honorable Matthew.
Waziri, you are saying that there is no PI land that can be used to have the resident for the governor and the deputy governor. But we have a number of lands being grabbed by land grabbers in this town and even in our sub-counties. Is it necessary that, it must be a specific place?
I do believe that the governor's residence should be within the county headquarters. For the deputy, we can do it in any other sub-county.
Yes, because we have even 10 acres or 100
In
acres
Londiani,
in Londiani.
yeah, that
was
place,
meant for
that place is suitable for the deputy.
It is still meant for Rivaro.
It is
So
still
you
for,
cannot-
yeah, no, we have not changed the change of user.
Chairman, I
Yeah.
think
Even the land in Londiani that is used for farming, I think you can just take 20 acres and let Kipkeli and East also benefit of having the resident of the governor in that end.
The deputy.
The deputy, the same.
Yeah. The governor should be within the town. Yeah.
Chairman, I think the Waziri should also be told that even the speaker's residence, we purchase the land. And remember, there's nothing that would have hindered probably the purchase of the governor's residence together with the deputy governor. So therefore, I think it was a laxity of the department. Because if you had gone the direction that the county assembly went, that house could have already been completed. So make sure that going forward, let's also make sure that we move forward very fast like what we are doing in the county assembly.
Thank you. Let's move to the next question.
Thank you, Chair. Non-compliance with fiscal responsibility principles wage bill. The statement of receipt and payment reflects compensation of employees' expenditure amounting to Kenya shillings 187,74,306 as disclosed in note 3 to the financial statement. However, it was observed that the percentage of the expenditure to the county total receipt amounted to Kenya shillings 6,353,006 for the year under review was 50%, which exceeded the set limit of 35% under Regulation 25 1B of the Public Finance Management County Government Regulation 2015.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. The management notes the auditor's observations and on the fiscal responsibility. However, we would like to point out that due to unrealized revenue targets for non-source revenue and the exchequer releases, which were not received during the year under review, the management is working towards improvement of on-source revenue in order to mitigate the same in future. Thank you, Chair.
On this issue of wage bill, it means we are spending more resources on paying salaries rather than doing development. Yes, you have answered that it's about the issue of revenue. So this question of revenue, at least we should actually push very hard so that you see, Kericho County, even most people believe that this county is rich, and we believe we are rich, and we are rich. And we are able even to raise enough revenue, more than 1 billion. Because you cannot be fighting with a county like Homa Bay, where their main source is, you saw yesterday during Madaraka, it signifies that maybe they are only working on one thing, maybe fishing. So as we have different sources of revenue, the streams are huge. So actually you have a big task in terms of ensuring that we push the limit of revenue to a higher level, so that at the end of the day we will be able to employ our people and also do development, because we cannot only be paying salaries and we are not engaging in other activities and developing this county. Unless, is there any question on wage bill?
Thank you, Chairman. Not a question, but an observation. It is true. What is the only way to cure this is by the county government of Kericho collecting revenues. And I keep on saying, the last time CRA team were here, they gave us a potential collection of up to 2 billion. And was it Rob? I still want to challenge the CEO, Alphonse, Dr. Kirer is there. One of the things that I've learned to do, even raw rate is, sometimes when I go home, I use raw rate. On a Thursday, you still do not find those county employees collecting. Chairman, the last budget estimates, this one which is coming to an end, even captured in the CFSP for the previous financial year, we had actually requested the executive to hire 90 enforcement officers. And these were the people who were supposed to go and assist the county revenue team in collecting revenues in our rural areas. It hasn't happened. In the morning, you heard a member claiming that some of these quarries were not collecting. I'm happy Dr. Kirer has indicated that they are trying to partner with most of these other people who are manning quarries. I can confirm to you that if you go to Homa Bay, because sometimes we use that route, a lorry full of madam or quarry sand will not leave without paying that revenue. But in this county, not a single stop can be found. The last time, Chairman, when we were doing the Under Committee on Revenue, is when we found some of these employees trying to man there was a roadblock here, but it lasted only that week. Go to town, I've just come from town. Somebody who dropped me doesn't even have a sticker. Not a single staff from the county came to demand a LIPE parking fee. What I'm simply saying, Rob, still, even after the failed impeachment, there is no revenue that you people are still collecting. I'm keen, Chairman, and I'm going to inform this committee when Q3 report comes out, the control of budget Q3. I'm happy there is a good report from lands, the land rates. Quite a number of people are paying. And I'm happy Kirer and the team, even in our rural places, you gave out invoices for land rates. And though people are trying to cry, but we told them, this is what is due to the county government of Kericho. Even the public schools, they made a visit to me claiming you are overcharging them. But of course, that is what they are supposed to pay. What I'm simply saying, Chairman, if we must plug the deficit with regards to wage bill, this county government has to collect revenues. And Waziri, acha tuvumilie, we are now going to the new accounting system. I want to believe anything that we've issued out in terms of invoices and anything that is due to this county will be realized before the end of the financial year. So that we do not want to have Auditor General raising the issue of wage bill in the next financial year's report. In any case, it will dent the image of this county.
Thank you very much. And to add on, I remember we had an ad hoc committee for revenue, for revenue. And actually, the reason why what Honorable Wan said happened, the impeachment, is because when we were conducting the revenue ad hoc committee, midway, we were surprised by what happened. But I'm happy because at least you have made some corrections, like having the system in place, which is very important because there was no revenue system. Maybe what you need to do is only improve on that. Again, there are other loopholes, leave alone the one that we saw in the auditor's report. When you go to the markets, I myself, I went to Social Market, I went to Chemnyoga, I went to several markets, I myself personally, and my colleagues, some of my colleagues, and even our staff. And we were able to see, actually, you see, this is what we saw physically. People, where money was getting lost. Because they didn't know us, we were standing there, even in the auction. I remember even Mheshimiwa Aaron, went to the market and did collections at some point. And he was able to collect in a day, I think, around a lot of money. You see, in our Moi market, for example, used to give us 400 shillings in a day. There are markets that give us 200 shillings in a day, but when you go there physically, you will find a huge number of people. You cannot even find a space to step on. But what is reported is merely maybe 200 or 300 shillings. Now, I know you have a lot of ideas on how you are going to work and beef up, so that in the next financial years, we'll be able to have enough revenue. And also when explaining to the people, you see it's very important to talk to the people and explain to them why there is a need. Though sometimes they also demand for services. So you should identify and prioritize on what is needed in the markets. If there are pit latrines, if there are fencing and all those things, drainages and the rest. That will boost the morale of the people so that they can be able to pay. Otherwise, I think that's a question that we need to discuss further. And even it's a question that needs collaboration so that we can you can work in an effective way to get more revenue. Let's go to the next question.
Chairman.
Okay, Honorable Matthew.
Okay, on that again, I want to request Waziri and the team to look on how we can cover the whole area in collecting revenue, because you cannot meet the target when we are still selecting where to collect, who to pay, who not to pay. Because when we talk at the moment, Waziri, it is only few markets where we are collecting revenue. The rest are not even paying. And I can give a very good example. That is Litein and Chepseon, where people are not paying even just a market fee of 20 shillings. We are not collecting from those markets. But when we are in budget, Waziri, we can tell you those people from Litein or Burete, they want to have capros in Litein, minus them paying revenue. So we must also stick on now. We need to contribute. What you give is what you get. Because at the end of the day, no one will be sweating on behalf of the rest. So Waziri, I think with the new revenue staff that you will be given, that is 30, I think that will boost even the collection of revenue. We wish that even them also to have that spirit of building this county and help the department to ensure that we are collecting the revenue. But meanwhile, Waziri, just look on how you will engage the resident of Burete, the resident of Kipkelionis, the resident of each and every part of this county to pay the revenue, to pay the taxes.
Thank you. Noted, Chair. I'll do the necessary. I believe we are doing well in East, but we are doing badly in Burete. That is a concern that we have set as a team, and we want to look into how we can go for RRI in this region down there. That is where a lot of revenue is still lying uncollected. Yeah, we have noted that.
Thank you. Now we have 3 remaining questions. I would like the auditor to read all of them so that you can tackle at once. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Non-compliance with law on staff intensity composition. Review of payroll records revealed the county expenditure had 3,888 employees, out of whom 3,638 or 94% of employees were from the same or dominant ethnic community in the county, surpassing the recommended threshold of 1/3, in accordance with Section 65, 1E of the County Government Act 2012. Number 7, non-compliance with the law on people with disability. Review of the payroll records revealed that the county expenditure of Kericho had 3,888 employees, out of which 8 employees were people living with disability, in contravention to Section B22 of the Public Service Commission HR Policies 2016, which recommend at least 5% of the employees should be people living with disability. 8. Non-adherence with 1/3 basic salary rule. During the year under review, 257 employees received less than 1/3 of their basic pay, contrary to the allowable limit by Section 19(3) Employment Act 2007, the overcommitment could potentially lead to a financial strain and embarrassment to both the employees and the employer.
Honorable Chair, on the non-compliance with the National Cohesion and Integration Act 2008, Chair, we acknowledge the auditor's observation. While we appreciate the concern raised, it is important to highlight that this situation has largely arisen due to historical staffing patterns and particular community, which has over time resulted. Sorry, Chair, let me, my eyes are lost somewhere, let me repeat. We acknowledge the auditor's observation. While we appreciate the concern raised, it is important to highlight that this situation has largely arisen due to historical staffing patterns and the demographic realities within the region. Kericho County is predominantly inhabited by this population, this particular community, which has over time resulted in a workforce that reflects the local population structure. However, we fully recognize, we are fully cognizant of the legal requirements for diversity and inclusivity in county government employment. Moving forward, we are committed to aligning our hiring practices with the provisions of the County Government Act 2012 by implementing more inclusive recruitment strategies, including a deliberate undertaking for public sensitization to attract applicants from the non-dominant communities for employment opportunities in the foreseeable future. It is also important to note that Kalenjin community engaged by the county government of Kericho comprises of various communities, notably the Nandi, the Tuken, Keyo, Sapot, Kipsigis, Ukik, Pokot, Terik, and Marakwet. Furthermore, Chairman, it is worth noting that officers from non-dominant ethnic communities have continuously applied for transfer of services to their own counties, as evidenced by the copies of correspondence in Annex 15. The county government recommends that the national government, through the Public Service Commission, comes up with a policy for staff mobility across the public service, including the county governments. This can be achieved through Public Service Human Resource Management Bill 2024. Again, Chairman, on non-compliance with the law on people with disability. Honorable Chair, the management would like to clarify that the county has 28 persons with disabilities as evidenced in Annex 16 and not 8 as observed by the auditor. We would like to clarify that the current under-representation is not due to a lack of commitment, but rather due to historical staffing challenges and limited applications from qualified public persons with disability candidates during previous recruitment exercises. However, we are actively working to address this matter. We recognize the importance of fostering an inclusive working environment and ensuring that principles of diversity and equal opportunity are upheld, particularly for marginalized groups such as persons living with disabilities. The county government is committed to complying with this policy and increasing the representation of persons with disabilities within our workforce. To this end, Kericho County government is developing a more robust outreach and recruitment strategy aimed at attracting qualified persons living with disabilities. This includes working closely with relevant advocacy groups, increasing the visibility of job opportunities for persons with disabilities, and ensuring that our recruitment processes are accessible and supportive to all candidates, including those with disabilities. Chair, adherence to one-third rule basic salary. The management response, Chair, is that the management acknowledges the auditor's observation. However, we wish to state that during the year under review, the tax law, the Amendment Act 2020, which was ascended on April 2020, on 25th April 2020, amended various tax regulations meant to cushion Kenyans against the harsh economic effects of COVID-19 pandemic. It is also worth noting that the tax relief of a number of staffs committed their pay slips, thus leading to earning below one-third rule of their basic salary when the relief was lifted. The IBBD system could not be reverted. After identifying the same, the county requested the relevant financial institutions where commitments were made to regularize the deductions to align with the law. The management has also taken initiatives to communicate with the affected staff to restructure their pay slip commitments to comply with one-third rule. In addition, Chair, review of NSSF monthly contribution also contributed to staff earning below one-third rule of their basic salary, since most of them had committed their pay slip. Furthermore, during the month of July 2023, there was an introduction of a mandatory deduction on housing levy fund on staff salary, which also led to earning below one-third rule of their basic salary. Chairman, it is worth noting that the county government has moved from IBBD to HRIS. A key feature of HRIS is deferment of loans and other commitments the moment a third basic is reached. This is evidenced by a list of deferred loans summary in Annex 17A. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. The issue of ethnicity and balancing of, you see, in Kericho County, we have several communities. For example, in my ward, I have it's a cosmopolitan ward, especially my ward and Kidawa Kimugul, and Chinchilla, Kipkelion, and other parts. I believe this issue of balancing in the future recruitments should be handled very carefully. I like the suggestion that you said that the people in those areas, those people who are maybe called the minorities, should be educated so that when there are positions, they also apply and also given a fair chance. Any question from any member on the other issues captured? Do you have any question? Then we can move to the next, I think the last questions, the remaining 4. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Construction of Kericho County Aggregated Industrial Park. Now some issues were addressed, only one, which I'm going to read. Further, the amount awarded of Kenya shillings 541 million exceed the national framework budget of Kenya shillings 500 million allocated for similar projects across the counties. However, justification for additional Kenya shilling 41 million budgetary allocation was not provided for audit. The decision to award the contract to hire bidder without prioritizing the cost effectiveness could not be justified.
Response.
Honorable Chair, our response on this was all inclusive, but Chair, the management notes that the auditor's observation. However, we wish to clarify that bidder 4 did not meet the evaluation mandatory preliminary and technical criteria requirements, since the bidder did not submit the current valid NCA for the subcontractor for the mechanical works, hence could not proceed to the financial evaluation phase. As such, the most responsive bidder 5 was awarded as by the Dutch Annex Evaluation Report on Annex 18A.
Thank you. What you need to do is, because I've seen, I hope you have finished the response. There is an issue of documentation justifying additional for 12 million. And also approvals for that from the county executive and the assembly. Do you have the relevant documents on that one? Because there are no documents supporting the additional for 1 million when it was provided for audit. And approvals. Do you have any response for that?
Chair, you will allow us to look at the evaluation report. I believe the discrepancy is on the budget because the figure in question is up 41 million, yet the budget allocation was 500 million. So we ended up giving a tender of 541. NEMA fee could be part of this, and that is why I want to get the evaluation report so that I can see what this 41 really entails.
You need to be having the documents because you see from audit when the documents was requested to giving response to now interrogation, that must have been you must have been having enough time to actually compile that information and give us the documents. Because I still see you are still also like not sure and consulting us if because you see the budgetary allocation was 500 million.
Yes.
We knew that 250 will come from the county, 250 will come from the national government. And how did you arrive at giving to the highest bidder of 5 for 12 million?
The report that I have, Chairman, is that
Without,
that was
should
the
have
most responsive bidder was 541.
Now that's why we need the documentation and supporting it.
That is
So
why
kindly we will give you time up to Thursday because we are retreating on Friday.
Right.
Supporting documents, yes, on the additional and approvals, because you see, you cannot just say that it's 500 million, then you add 541 when you have not approved. There must be a budgetary allocation for that and approval, both from the executive and here at County Assembly.
Well guided, Chair.
Thank you. Let's move to the next question.
Thank you, Chair. Now remain 4 issues. I'm going to read them all at once. 1, failure to prepare human resource plan. Review of the documents provided for audit revealed that the County Service Board had not developed a human resource plan. This was contrary to Section 59(1)(g) of the County Government Act 2012. That specified that the function of the County Service Board include facilitating and the development of the coherent, integrated human resource planning and budgeting for the personnel emolument in the counties. Second one, lack of information and communication technology and the strategic plan. Review of information communication technology, ICT, controls and its environment revealed that there was no ICT and strategic plan in place. Lack of strategic planning means that the future events are not anticipated and planned for.
Thank you, Chair.
Action, let me do all. Action on internal audit report by the county executive. Review of the documents provided for audit revealed that the Directorate of Internal Audit and the Risk Management had 4 out of approved 38 staff, indicating an inadequate staff complement and lack of substantive office holder for the period under review. Further, the Directorate lacked an approved budget and work plan. In addition, there was no internal audit charter and evidence of risk management reports undertaken in the year of the financial under review. Lastly, failure of the audit committee to meet as required. Review of the document provided for audit revealed that audit committee had not met since 23rd June 2023. Further, there was no evidence that the audit committee was in existence during the year under audit. This was contrary to Regulation 172.1 of the Public Finance Management, County Government, Regulation 2015, that requires that the audit committee shall meet at least once in every 3 months. Thank you.
Response. Thank you, Honorable Chair. On failure to prepare a human resource plan, the management response is as follows. We acknowledge the auditor's observation. However, we wish to state that the approved county staff establishment and organizational structure was used by the board as the basis to carry out the staff recruitment during the financial year under review. Further, human resource plans are a replica of the staff establishment and organizational structure. The department also adequately identified and budgeted for the recruitment of the staff. Chair, on lack of information and communication technology and strategic plan, Honorable Chair, we note the auditor's observation. The management is developing a critical policy document to help in managing and improving county service delivery. Some of these policies include ICT's disaster recovery plan, ICT strategic plan, which are available in draft label as attached in Annex 23. Chair, on this, privy to the information that this was brought before the executive recently, and we have actually passed the policy on ICT strategic plan policy. So it's already there. It is a document that we are working on, and we made sure that all the committees in that team is all inclusive. All departments are represented because ICT cuts across all the departments. So this was passed in the recent executive committee meeting. The other issue on internal audit committee, apparently I am not seeing the response, but what I have, Chair, is that we forwarded the name, we advertised for the committee, and the County Public Service Board has already done an interview, and the list is out. We are waiting for them to give us the list so that we can publicize, we can have them on board. Equally, the reports on internal audit, we have also advertised for a position of a director internal audit, whose interview has also been done, and very soon we will be having a person in charge of internal audit, fully fledged director of internal audit. We did the adverts. Thank you, Chair.
Sorry, I had stepped out. Now I hope you have fully responded to the questions. I would like to ask if there are any other follow-up questions from the members. And this issue of the human resource plan. What is the reason for failure to have that plan in place?
Chair, the County Public Service Board, on their wisdom, so that the organizational, the staff establishment and the organizational structure could form part of that. And they were saying this, if we had to develop a plan, it was going to be a replica of the same. So they have been actually operating using the organizational structure that was established long before.
Okay, thank you. Lack of this issue also came up in the last report. I believe that one was addressed. So hopefully, Auditor, I hope we have addressed all the issues that were not addressed. Any member, do you have any comment regarding any other issue? I believe we have handled majorly all the issues, because we had 26 issues, 7 were already addressed, 12 that you were looking at, and partially 7. Now, in most of the issues, we are looking at documentation, because what we need is documents so that we can be able to verify 1 or 2 issues that we're supposed to provide, because we need to have clarity on most of the issues. We will retreat as a committee, and we are requesting that by Friday, kindly submit all the documents that we have requested, so that it will facilitate us in coming up with the report. But still, we will still go back and analyze the other issues that were indicated as addressed, so that we will come up with a very comprehensive report. What I would like to appreciate is I think we are improving, because you did respond on time. You also avail yourself as requested on time, which I think I'll have to appreciate as a chairman, because we didn't have to push each other back and forth. What I'm only requesting is, last time you didn't submit some of the documents as requested. You delayed at some point, but we proceeded to write the report. You see, sometimes if you don't submit the documents, we will adopt the report the way it is. And when we adopt it the way it is, we'll give recommendations. But it's good when you provide us with the information, we will address the issues, so that moving forward, I know maybe in the next financial years, we have better reports, not from us, but from the Office of the Auditor General. It will make our work easier as a committee. I would like to appreciate my committee here and the Secretariat for the commitment and time that you have availed yourself. This report was a bit longer. I could see the members, you could see the reaction of the members, because maybe sometimes this issue of finance and figures might not be so good to everybody. I know maybe the experts enjoy, but some of us will have to actually critically analyze this information. Otherwise, we are much happy. We appreciate your commitment, and also the auditor for sparing time and coming to do the oversight together. I would like to thank everyone, wish you all the best, and I welcome you for lunch in our boardroom. Thank you very much. God bless you.